Chapter 322. The day's battles came to an end. Among the top 10 participants, apart from Tsing Hui, Lu Jianhua, and Dao Wuya, everyone else had lost once, losing the right to compete for first place. Of course, this qualification was not absolute. If Tsing Hui, Lu Jianhua, and Dao Wuya also lost once due to various reasons, then it would depend on who could accumulate 8 victories. Even if they did not have 8 victories, they would still be able to take first place. That night, no one from the Purple Cloud Palace came to invite Tsing Hui. Even Wang Ke was nowhere to be found. Now, no matter how slow the people from the Burning Sky clan were, they could guess that there was a rift between Tsing Hui and the Purple Cloud Palace. They could not help but feel worried. However, Tsing Hui ignored them. When night fell, he went straight to the East Flame Palace inside the Great Sun Divine Palace. When he met a patrolling guard on the way, he directly told the guard why he wanted to see Elder Du Senator, as Qing Su was an expert with a god-tier battle body. He ranked in the top 10 of this year's fortune banquet. The patrolling guards dared not neglect him at all. After receiving permission from Elder Du Sen, they brought him to Elder Du Sen's residence very soon. Elder Dong Yang, may I ask what brings you here so late at night? Seeing Tsing Hui, Du Sen greeted him warmly. Although Tsing Hui's attack that had defeated Nantian Do had a fatal flaw, it was still very practical. The Great Sun Divine Palace was also somewhat envious of this attack. Elder Du Sen, may I ask if you can contact the Starlight Palace Lord? I have a deal to discuss with the Star Worship Palace Master. I wonder if I can meet the Star Worship Palace Master. You want to see the Palace Lord? Du Sen was slightly taken aback. Thinking of how much importance the Starlight Palace Lord placed on Tsing Hui, he nodded slightly. I'll contact the Palace Lord for you. Thank you, Elder Du Senior. Du Sen nodded and quickly sent a message. Soon, he received a reply. He turned to Tsing Hui and said, the Palace Lord will come to the East Flame Palace in an hour. Elder Dong Yang, please wait for a moment. Of course. I'm already satisfied that the Palace Lord can take time out of his busy schedule to meet with me. Let alone an hour, even if he has to wait for an entire night, I won't complain. Elder Dong Yang's words are too serious. Elder is the most distinguished guest of our Great Sun Divine Palace. If the Palace Lord wasn't delayed by something, he would have rushed over immediately. Why would he make Elder Dong Yang wait for so long? Tsing Hui smiled and didn't say anything else. In less than an hour, the Palace Lord of the Star Worship Palace of the Great Sun Divine Palace had already stepped into the Eastern Flame Hall. When he saw Qing Su, he clasped his hands with a smile. He did not put on the airs of a peak Eternal Realm expert at all. Elder Dong Yang, you've truly demonstrated your might at the fortune gathering today. The genius of the primeval sect, Nantian Do, who the primeval sect had placed all their hopes on, was actually defeated by Elder Dong Yang in a single stroke. It's simply shocking. Elder Dong Yang, did you not see the reactions of the elders of the various sects and organizations back then? They were all dumbfounded. Even I, the Palace Lord of the Great Sun Divine Palace, was frightened by Elder Dong Yang's strike. You're flattering me, Palace Lord. What's so special about an attack that requires all of one's true chi? Isn't any transcendent realm overlord able to do that? Although a transcendent state overlord can unleash a powerful attack with all of his true chi, it's still not enough to unleash the true essence of a prominent divine state cultivator like Mr. Dong Yang. Tsing Hui smiled and didn't continue on this topic. The power of the Sword of the Glorious Sun was indeed great, but as Tsing Hui comprehended the Sword of the Glorious Sun, he faintly added some element fission techniques into it, making it even more terrifying than Sword Master Bai Heng's Sword of the Glorious Sun. Moreover, he was fully confident that when he cultivated this Sword of the Glorious Sun to perfection and completely transformed it into a fission sword, its true power would definitely surpass Sword Master Bai Heng's Sword of the Glorious Sun. However, he naturally couldn't say these words to others right now. I've come to find Palace Lord of the Starlight Palace because I have a deal to make with you. Palace Lord, please consider it. Oh. What deal? I'd like to hear the details. Xing Hui slightly lowered his voice and said in a deep voice, I want to use 4 days of time to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade to exchange for the 10 days of burning the heavens cultivation method with Palace Lord of the Starlight Palace. Ha! Palace Lord of the Starlight Palace, who had a smile on her face, suddenly became serious. Elder Dong Yang has taken a fancy to our Great Sun Divine Palace's supreme immortal art, 10 days of burning the heavens. This celestial art can form a domain-like existence. Cultivators of the Golden Crow bloodline already have an extremely powerful combat strength in it. If a cultivator like me who has cultivated the Golden Crow combat body can step into it, you can imagine how great the increase will be. Therefore, this celestial art is the key to whether I can go against the flow of Hunyuan and fight above my level. Its importance to me is self-evident. I naturally hope to obtain the true inheritance of this supreme celestial art from the Divine Palace. 10 days of burning the heavens with the Golden Crow battle body. The Starlight Palace Master's face revealed a trace of interest as well. He really wanted to know exactly how formidable the Golden Crow battle body was in the 10 Suns Incinerate the World. However, wanting to know was one thing, and he wouldn't underestimate the sect guarding immortal art at all. We are also very curious about how powerful Elder Dong Yang's Golden Crow battle body and 10 days of burning the heavens will be when used together. However, 10 days of burning the heavens is our Great Sun Divine Palace's supreme immortal art. In order to comprehend this supreme immortal art, our ancestors of the Great Sun Divine Palace poured in a lot of effort. In the future, countless cultivators who had awakened the Golden Crow bloodline even wanted to bypass our Great Sun Divine Palace to comprehend this supreme immortal art with the help of the Fortune Divine Jade, but without exception, all of them ended in failure. Therefore, if Elder Dong Yang wants to obtain this supreme immortal art, I'm afraid, Xing Hui looked at Starlight. At this time yesterday, he was still relying on the Great Sun Golden Crow battle body to raise the price, but now, the status of the two was reversed. Xing Hui smiled bitterly and said, What request does Palace Lord of the Starlight Palace have for you to teach this supreme immortal art to me? Xing Ji shook his head, This is the sect-protecting immortal technique of our Great Sun Divine Palace, even the disciples of our Great Sun Divine Palace can't teach it if they haven't made great contributions. Moreover, Elder Dong Yang hasn't agreed to join our Great Sun Divine Palace, so, I can accept your invitation to join the Great Sun Divine Palace after the Fortune Grand Banquet and assume the position of an elder. This is still not enough. Even if you become an elder of our Great Sun Divine Palace and are willing to give up 4 days to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade, it is still not enough for you to be taught the supreme immortal art, 10 days of burning the heavens. This is the foundation of our Great Sun Divine Palace's strength. Starlight shook his head. Xing Hui knew that Starlight was trying to raise the price. Of course, his intentions were unclear, and he could not gain Starlight's complete trust. Then, how about I add another condition? If Great Sun Divine Palace's Heaven's Pride, Lu Jihua, wants to compete for the throne, his biggest opponent has changed from Nan Tian-do and Dao Wuya to Dao Wuya alone. If Starlight Palace Lord is willing to teach me the supreme immortal art, 10 days of burning the heavens, I can guarantee that I will defeat Dao Wuya and eliminate Lu Jihua's biggest opponent. What did you say? Starlight, who was still trying to raise the price, heard Xing Hui say that he could defeat Dao Wuya and eliminate Lu Jihua's biggest opponent for the throne. His eyes lit up. Are you serious? You can defeat Dao Wuya? You can defeat Dao Wuya? That's right. As long as Dao Wuya is defeated, Lu Jihua only needs to be careful, and his chances of winning will be above 80 to 90%. Even the Heaven's Pride from the Heavenly Court and the Netherworld sect are no exception. When that time comes, Lu Jihua will have secured the throne of number 1 and will have the chance to study the Fortune Jade for a whole month. With this month, his 10 days of burning the heavens and 4 days of burning the heavens will most likely continue to climb. In the end, he will be able to reach the 5 days, 6 days, and even the 7 days of burning the heavens. Starlight was tempted when he heard this. If Lu Jihua could really get the chance to study the fortune jade for a month, he might not be able to reach the 7 days of burning the heavens, but the chances of him reaching the 6 days of burning the heavens would be more than 60%. As long as he could increase his cultivation level by 1 or 2 more levels, he might be able to understand the key to the 7 days of burning the heavens. How can you guarantee that you can defeat Dao Wuya and eliminate the biggest threat for Lu Jihua? You have to know that Dao Wuya is a true energy realm elite. Furthermore, you have used up a lot of your qi in today's battle. It will take more than a day or 2 to recover. Even if you can recover your qi in a day, Dao Wuya will not be easily hit by your attack. How can you guarantee that you can defeat him in such a situation? Palace Master Starlight must have gone back to study the Great Sun Divine Palace yesterday, right? Then you should know that the 6th level of the Divine Palace contains the method to create a unique treasure. Unique treasure? Starlight was taken aback. Then, a look of surprise appeared on his face. The Eternal Blazing Sun. It is the Eternal Blazing Sun. I have cultivated a divine grade battle body, and I was lucky enough to cultivate 2 Eternal Blazing Suns while I was breaking through. These 2 Eternal Blazing Suns were condensed from the foundation of my divine grade battle body, and their power is incomparable to ordinary treasures. If they were to explode at the same time, it would not be difficult to severely injure Dao Wuya. After all, Dao Wuya's power is based on his divine grade battle body. His 2 clones and 1 true body are connected to form a battle formation, and his combat power is above ordinary true energy realm elites. However, my Eternal Blazing Sun is an area of effect attack that does not differentiate between targets, and it completely counters his divine grade battle body. When Starfall heard this, he immediately understood. Moreover, he had studied the Great Sun Golden Crow technique the night before, so he had a good understanding of the Eternal Blazing Sunday. He nodded. The Eternal Blazing Sun condensed from a divine grade battle body is much more powerful than ordinary Eternal Blazing Suns. If the 2 Eternal Blazing Suns were to explode at the same time, in addition to your own combat power, Dao Wuya would definitely lose. Then, Palace Master Starlight, you mean, change it. The 2 of us can sign a contract. If you can defeat Dao Wuya tomorrow, the Great Sun Divine Palace's divine grade battle body will be yours. Chapter 323. Deal. The 2 of us can sign a contract. If you can defeat Dao Wuya tomorrow, the Great Sun Divine Palace's supreme immortal technique, 10 suns burning the heavens, will be yours. Xing Ji agreed without hesitation. Alright, but I hope to obtain the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique today. Palace Master Xing Ji, please understand my impatience. Xing Hui cupped his hands and said. Xing Ji looked at Xing Hui, his eyes flashing. I'll give you the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique today. Please allow it, Palace Master. Xing Ji sized up Xing Hui for a while, then nodded. Alright, I can give you the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique first. However, in the contract later, whether it's you joining our Great Sun Divine Palace, contributing 4 days of the Fortune Jade, or defeating Dao Wuya, all of these must be written in the contract. If you fail to complete any of these, then don't blame me for offending you. Alright. Xing Hui said. Actually, the reason why I hope to obtain the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique first is to comprehend it as soon as possible. After I have a foundation, I can take advantage of the time left to comprehend the Fortune Jade to see if I can cultivate it. If I'm presumptuous, I hope Palace Master will forgive me. Seeing that Xing Hui had agreed, a smile appeared on Xing Ji's solemn face. I can understand. I'll inform the Supreme Elder of the Scripture Depository and ask him to personally deliver the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique. Du Sun, go prepare the contract. Yes. Du Sun responded and quickly retreated. This matter was indeed not suitable for too many people to know. The Supreme Elder of the Scripture Depository with the never-ending realm came very quickly. In less than half an hour, he had already stepped into the East Flame Palace. Du Sen had already prepared the contract. After Tsing Hui signed his name on the contract, Xing Ji carefully handed the jade talisman with the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique to Tsing Hui. Elder Dong Yang, this time, you're the real Elder Dong Yang of our Great Sun Divine Palace. Although you'll have to wait until the end of the fortune banquet, I believe you'll keep your word. This is the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique. Elder Dong Yang, keep it well. I also can't wait to see what kind of earth-shattering power this technique can unleash when combined with your golden crow body. I'm also looking forward to the 10 suns immortal technique. Tsing Hui put away the jade talisman with a smile. Time is of the essence. I urgently need to go back and comprehend the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique. I won't stay here for long. Then, as if he had thought of something, he added, by the way, for some special reason, I've offended Supreme Elder Xiang Hong of the Purple Cloud Palace. As a result, the Purple Cloud Palace's deacons, who were specially assigned to surround me and introduce me to the details of the fortune banquet, were all dismissed by the Purple Cloud Palace. As a result, there are many details that I can't find out. I wonder if Palace Master Xing Ji can send someone to follow me and explain to me the things I need to pay attention to during the fortune banquet. Xing Ji, Du Sen, and Elder Ji Guang, who delivered the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique, looked at each other and were all satisfied with Tsing Hui's decision. Since Elder Dong Yang has requested it, we'll naturally agree. In a while, we'll send someone to follow Elder Dong Yang's instructions. Then I'll have to trouble Palace Master Xing Ji and the 2 elders. Tsing Hui cupped his hands and took his leave. This Elder Dong Yang is an interesting person. He's very tactful. He knows that we might be worried, so he actually took the initiative to invite us to send someone to monitor him. Du Sen understood the whole story and couldn't help but laugh as he watched Tsing Hui leave. Xing Ji nodded slightly. It's easy to deal with smart people. However, I hope that he can continue to be so smart. Otherwise, even if he tries to break the contract by returning to the Purple Cloud Palace's embrace, with this agreement, I dare to kill my way to the Purple Cloud Palace and ask them to hand him over. I don't believe that the Purple Cloud Palace has the guts to go to war with the Great Sun Divine Palace for him alone. This is the Great Sun Divine Palace. So what if the Purple Cloud Palace is in the Great Sun Divine Palace's territory? If that boy dares to act rashly, we'll make him beg for death. Ji Guang said with a faint smile. Du Sen and Xing Ji nodded. The reason why they dared to hand over the 10 suns burning heaven immortal technique to Tsing Hui so decisively was because they were in the Great Sun Divine Palace. If a puny prominent divine realm expert was allowed to cheat the Great Sun Divine Palace's supreme immortal technique and leave, then their Great Sun Divine Palace wouldn't be able to survive in the Fortune mainland. I've finally gotten it. Tsing Hui looked at the jade talisman in his hand and couldn't wait to immerse his consciousness into comprehending the supreme immortal technique. The night passed quickly. Relying on the recovery ability of the Sixth Order, Tsing Hui's depleted true qi had completely recovered. However, relying on the mystery of the true qi transformation technique, he still managed to recover around 30% of his true qi. This number was also in line with everyone's estimation of his true qi recovery speed. Back when Qing Su was comprehending the Sword of the Glorious Sun and the method of condensing true qi into virtual qi, he had already sensed that the great achievement of the Sword of the Glorious Sun could lead to great achievement of the method of condensing true qi into virtual qi, and great achievement of the method of condensing true qi into virtual qi would also feed back into the Sword of the Glorious Sun, allowing it to reach great achievement as well. In reality, Qing Su's guess was not wrong. In less than 10 days after his battle with Ling Shi, his true qi transformation technique had reached the major completion stage, and his control over his true qi had reached a whole new realm. Although he didn't know how big the difference was between the true Qi transformation technique and the transformative realm expert's control over his true Qi, it wasn't difficult to use the true Qi transformation technique to conceal his true condition and hide it from the transformative realm and endless realm experts who couldn't personally investigate. As expected of a supreme celestial art. Although 10 suns incinerate the heavens isn't as difficult to cultivate as the 3 pure ones with 1 Qi, reverse future telling, and instant blooming flower, it'll take a few years for me to reach the beginner level of the 10 suns incinerate celestial arts. If I really want to cultivate this supreme celestial art, I'll have to rely on the fortune jade. Tsing Hui slowly put down the supreme immortal technique. Originally, he had planned to wait until the fortune divine jade was activated and directly absorb all the Tao energy within the fortune divine jade, raising his cultivation by 9 chaos grades in one go, but now, he had to change his mind. At the very least, he had to cultivate the 10 suns burning heaven immortal technique while the fortune divine jade was activated. Elder Dong Yang, have you risen? When Tsing Hui stored the 10 suns burning heaven immortal technique into his personal storage, Sect Master Hartcliffe's voice immediately sounded from outside the courtyard. When Tsing Hui walked out of the courtyard, he saw Hartcliffe already waiting for him with a strange expression on her face. Accompanying her was a vision sage woman dressed in the Great Sun Divine Palace's robes. Sect Master Hartcliffe. Tsing Hui nodded at Hartcliffe, then looked at the young woman whose true age was estimated to be over 100 years old. When she saw Tsing Hui look over, the woman hurriedly walked up and bowed slightly to Tsing Hui. Du Xiu of the Great Sun Divine Palace greets Elder Dong Yang. Du Xiu. Tsing Hui blinked. Du Sen that's my ancestor. Tsing Hui nodded slightly. Alright, counting the time, the Fortune Festival is about to begin. In order to avoid missing the most exciting moments, we should hurry over. Yes, Elder Dong Yang, please. Du Xiu gestured with her hand. Hartcliffe followed closely behind, but Chen Shua and the other true energy boundary elders did not follow. Elder Dong Yang, what are you? Hartcliffe took advantage of Du Xiu leading the way and asked with a strange expression. He. The Purple Cloud Palace is too big for me to climb up to, so I can only find another way. Tsing Hui said. In truth, Tsing Hui had his own considerations for letting the Great Sun Divine Palace send people over. He had switched sides to the Great Sun Divine Palace to let everyone know his position. When the Fortune Festival ended and he left with the Fortune Divine Jade, the impact on the Burning Heaven sect would be minimized. It could also be considered to avoid harming the innocent. As for the Purple Cloud Palace's attitude, they had already fallen out, so he naturally did not care. This, Hartcliffe could only sigh when he heard Tsing Hui's words. He did not know what to say. The Burning Heaven sect was a first-rate sect that relied on the Purple Cloud Palace to survive, so it was not their place to interfere in this matter. Just do as usual. Anyone can see that the Burning Heaven sect is just a springboard. Even if the Great Sun Divine Palace and the Purple Cloud Palace really fight because of me in the future, it won't bring any trouble to the Burning Heaven sect. Tsing Hui said to Hartcliffe. I understand. Rockhart nodded with a helpless expression on his face. This was the tragedy of a weak sect. Even though, the Burning Heaven sect's strength on the surface was not inferior to any of the 10 sacred sects of the Eastern Wilderness. As Tsing Hui, Du Xiu, Hartcliffe, and the others arrived at their mountain peak, they naturally attracted everyone's attention, especially Xiang Hong, Gao Chen, and the others from the Purple Cloud Palace. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent, and even Sage Zi Hao and the other elders who did not know what was going on frowned. Only Xiang Jun had a trace of regret on his face, but when he saw Grand Elder Xiang Hong, who was filled with murderous intent, he did not say anything in the end. He was only the palace master of the Central Earth branch of the Purple Cloud Palace, not the palace master of the main palace. His status was slightly lower than Grand Elder Xiang Hong's. Since Grand Elder Xiang Hong had already taken over this matter, whatever the final outcome was, it had nothing to do with him. However, it was a pity for such a genius. The scene of Tsing Hui and the people from the Great Sun Divine Palace walking together caused waves of discussion in the crowd. However, this was the territory of the Great Sun Divine Palace after all, and this matter involved two supreme sections. Although the crowd was curious, they did not make a big fuss. Moreover, with the arrival of Elder Du Sun, the Starry Worship Palace Master, and the others, the creation pageant resumed, and the crowd focused their attention on the creation pageant. After a day of rest, I believe that all the geniuses have recharged their energy and recovered their true power. Then, let the creation pageant continue. I wonder which genius will be the first to challenge today. As the arbitrator, Du Sun stood in the center of the platform and said loudly. As soon as he finished speaking, Tsing Hui jumped down first and landed in the center of the platform under the incredulous gazes of the crowd. He looked directly at the Three Pure sect and said, Dong Yang of the Burning Heavens sect would like to challenge Brother Wuya of the Three Pure sect. Chapter 324. Dong Yang from the Burning Sky sect is challenging Dao Wuya from the Three Pristine sect. Is he crazy? Dong Yang hasn't even fully recovered his qi yet and he dares to challenge Dao Wuya, who has the highest chance of becoming number one. Does he really think that he can look down on the geniuses of the supreme sects just because he defeated Nantian Do from the Taisher sect with his strange sword technique? He has no respect for anyone. Everyone is already on guard against that sword technique of his. It won't be so easy for him to plot against us again. Soon, he will understand the difference between him and the heavens prides of the supreme sections. The crowd immediately fell into an uproar when they saw Qing Su step onto the platform. Discussions constantly rang out. Even Rockhart's eyes widened. She couldn't come back to her senses for a long time. After a long while, she finally said in disappointment, that's fine, that's fine. Losing to a peak genius like Dao Wuya is also fine. After all, he doesn't have any hope of making it into the top three. He'll be defeated sooner or later. Although holding on a little longer will allow our Burning Sky sect to gain more fame, it won't be too meaningful. At this moment, the prodigy of the Three Purities sect, Dao Wuya, who was being challenged, slowly stood up as well. He stared at Qing Su in the center of the platform as his eyes shone with cold light. You want to challenge me? Brother Wuya, please. Tsing Hui gestured with his hand. This action clearly expressed his attitude. Good, very good. Let me see what kind of tricks you have up your sleeves. How dare you challenge the authority of the Three Purities sect? Saying that, Dao Wuya was about to fly up. An unending realm Grand Elder beside him hurriedly reminded him, Wuya, be careful. Since Dong Yang dares to challenge you first, there must be a reason. Don't be like Nan Tian Do, who failed miserably and lost the throne of the fortune pageant for nothing. Dao Wuya paused, and his expression became more serious. Elder, don't worry. When I go down, I'll use the Three Pristine sect supreme technique, one qi into three pristines. Once I use it, I'll split into three. All three of them will be my clones, and all three of them will be my main body. No matter how powerful his strange sword technique is, it can only kill one of my clones. It won't be able to do anything to me. Good, as long as you know what you're doing. The never-ending realm Grand Elder was merely reminding Boundless Dao out of caution. Seeing that Boundless Dao was getting serious, he did not say anything else. According to his understanding of Boundless Dao, once Boundless Dao became serious, among all the young geniuses on Fortune Mainland, other than Nantian Do and Sacrificial Flame Lu, no one could be considered his opponent. Xiao! Dao Wuya's figure leaped, and he landed on the platform. Without giving Tsing Hui any time to initiate the battle, he said to Du Sun, let's begin. Good. Be careful. The battle officially begins. Du Sun's figure had already flown away from the battle. He knew that the entire platform would be turned into a blazing purgatory. On the platform, Dao Wuya didn't relax in the slightest when facing Xing Hui, who had defeated Nantian Do with a single sword technique. The moment Du Sun announced the start of the battle, he had already used the Three Pristines Sect Supreme technique. 1 Qi into 3 Pristines. As soon as he used the 1 Qi into 3 Pristines, 2 figures appeared on either side of him. As soon as the 2 figures appeared, they flew towards the left and right at the fastest speed possible. They were going to form a joint attack formation, but they were also going to increase the distance between them so that they wouldn't be caught by Xing Hui's Sword of the Glorious Sun. Unfortunately, this time, what awaited him wasn't the Sword of the Glorious Sun, but the Eternal Blazing Sun, which was only slightly weaker than the Sword of the Glorious Sun. On the mountain where the Three Pristines sect was located, the Unending Realm Grand Elder saw that Dao Wuya had successfully used the 1 Qi into 3 Pristines and heaved a sigh of relief. Very good. Wuya is finally being careful this time. I believe that when he concentrates on his enemies, the only one who can truly pose a threat to him among the younger generation is. Before he could finish speaking, a blinding light lit up the entire platform. Countless people had no choice but to close their eyes because of this blinding light. Boom! In the next moment, a deafening roar turned into a shockwave that seemed to be able to overturn the entire Grand Assembly of Fortunes. It exploded from the center of the platform, just like when Xing Hui had used the Sword of the Glorious Sun. This is impossible. What's going on? He can still use the second sword technique? Didn't they say that this secret technique would exhaust all his energy in one strike? And I can feel that he has only recovered 30% of his true qi in a day. How can he still use this sword technique? The instant this resplendent and terrifying light spread out, all the elders cried out in shock, unable to believe what they had just seen. The Unending Realm Grand Elder of the Three Pristines sect felt his heart tighten. However, he quickly remembered that Dao Wuya had already used the 1 Qi into 3 Pristines and heaved a sigh of relief. Thank goodness Wuya has already used the 1 Qi into 3 Pristines. Once this secret technique is completed, unless we can kill both his original body and his 2 incarnations, Wuya can borrow the power of his incarnations to take the damage for him. No matter how powerful Dong Yang's sword technique is, it can only attack one person at a time. It can't do anything to Wuya. Before the Unending Realm Grand Elder could finish his breath, he heard the trembling voice of a Transcendent Realm Grand Elder beside him. Elder Ling Bao, this is an area of effect attack. This attack is an area of effect attack. Area of effect attack, it's actually an area of effect attack. Wait a minute, it's fine. Although this round of explosion is extremely tyrannical, because it's an area of effect explosion, its destructive power is not even half of yesterday's attack. He can withstand it. Boundless should be able to withstand it. Boundless' eyes widened as he stared at the explosion on the platform that had turned everything within a radius of 1,000 meters into a purgatory. How is this possible? It's an area of effect attack. Wait a minute, it's fine. Boom boom boom. Before Grand Elder Ling Bao could finish his words, a second explosion sounded from the platform. The second Eternal Blazing Sun exploded. Grand Elder Ling Bao's relieved expression instantly froze. In the direction of the Great Sun Divine Palace, even though Xiang Xingji already had a certain understanding of the power of the Eternal Blazing Sun after reading the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, witnessing the explosion of 2 divine great Eternal Blazing Suns with his own eyes still caused his breathing to stagnate. Eternal Blazing Sun. Eternal Blazing Sun. This is the power of a divine great Eternal Blazing Sun. One Eternal Blazing Sun is enough to severely injure a true energy realm expert. With 2 Eternal Blazing Suns, even a true energy realm expert would face death. After a while, Xiang Xingji took in a deep breath. However, following that, a faint rumbling sound came from the platform and the cry of the Golden Crow, which caused his expression to change. Not dead. Dao Wuya was actually not dead. Furthermore, there was a strong resistance. Xing Hui, who had only recovered 30% of his strength, had to use the golden crow body to barely suppress it. While he was shocked by Dao Wuya's methods, his reaction was extremely fast. He immediately ordered the Grand Elders and Transformative Elders of the Great Sun Divine Palace beside him. Quickly act. Control this explosive force. Du Sen also understood something and acted immediately. A majestic force pressed down on the burning torrent on the platform. Don't let this energy spread. Elders, please use the fire-calming divine pearl. This great fortune banquet is being held in our Great Sun Divine Palace. Our Great Sun Divine Palace cannot allow this blazing destructive power to harm the innocent. Elders, let's attack together. Xiao! 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 Instantly, with Great Sun Divine Palace's Palace Master Xing Ji in the lead, several never-ending realm experts and close to 10 transformative realm experts leaped up at the same time, landing in all directions of the competition platform. All of them used their own divine abilities to forcefully suppress this terrifying destructive force within the range of the platform, preventing it from spreading out in all directions. As a result, the eternal blazing sun, which was originally an area of effect attack and whose power was rather scattered, exploded in the middle of the platform under the joint efforts of several never-ending realm experts and more than 10 transcendent realm experts. This caused the power of the attack to increase by several folds, completely turning the arena into a fiery domain. The area of effect attack also showed signs of condensing into a mass and turning into an individual attack. Cultivators who cultivated the Golden Crow's bloodline and were born from fire were better off in this area. Cultivators who didn't cultivate the Golden Crow's bloodline and didn't have a strong resistance to fire didn't need others to act. Just this destructive flame energy alone was enough to kill them. The Grand Elder Ling Bao of the Three Clarities sect didn't react to Xing Ji and the others' actions at the start. When he sensed that there were still battle ripples on the battle stage, he finally understood what was going on. He was instantly enraged. Great Sun Divine Palace, you dare! The other elders of the Three Pure sect were also startled. They all roared and flew up. Stop! Xing Ji, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to disrupt the order of the platform and the fairness of the fortune gathering? Obviously, they also understood. If the power of the two eternal blazing suns exploded just like that, the vast destructive energy would rush in all directions and then gradually dissipate into nothingness. However, Xing Ji, a few never-ending realm experts, and a dozen transformative realm experts all acted at the same time, forcefully suppressing this burning torrent that should have spread out on the platform. This was equivalent to creating an excellent battlefield for Tsing Hui, who had awakened the Golden Crow physique. Originally, Dao Wuya, who might have had a chance to fight again after resisting the two eternal blazing suns, was trapped in such a fiery purgatory. His last bit of strength would be exhausted, and he would be completely defeated by Tsing Hui, who had a certain amount of battle strength. And if Dao Wuya was defeated, who would benefit the most from it? Without a doubt, it would be none other than Xing Ji Hua. Chapter 325. Xing Ji, how dare your Great Sun Divine Palace use such a method? Release the suppression. Supreme Elder Ling Bao roared as he tore apart the suppression formed by Xing Ji and the others, causing the energy from the explosion of the eternal sun to leak out through the gap. Xing Ji felt that Dao Wuya, who was still resisting in the center of the stage, was quickly fading away after Tsing Hui used the Golden Crow battle form. In just 1 or 2 breaths of time, he was almost extinguished. Xing Ji took the opportunity to release the suppression on the stage. Elder Ling Bao, what are you doing? That's right, why are you attacking us? We still have to work together to suppress the blazing energy from the explosion. If the blazing energy from the explosion is allowed to sweep out, then all of us Saint Realm cultivators will naturally be able to resist it, but cultivators below the Saint Realm will probably fall into a situation of life and death. Could it be that you intend to put the passageways of the various sects in danger by tearing apart our joint suppression? That's right, that's right. Our great Sun Divine Palace, as the host of the Great Fortune Meeting, naturally can't allow any accidents to happen. With Elder Numinous Treasure's actions, how would the lives of the other passageways be affected? The voices of the Supreme Elders of the Great Sun Divine Palace rang out one after another. They all looked like they were trying to protect the situation and prevent the explosion from causing any accidents. Seeing this, Elder Ling Bao's face darkened. Boom boom boom. Ling Bao sensed Boundless Dao's aura, which was so low that it was about to be extinguished. He suddenly attacked and tore apart the suppression of the Great Sun Divine Palace leader and a few great elders. He grabbed Boundless Dao, who was severely injured and on the verge of death, and dragged him out of the battle platform. The Three Clear Sect admits defeat. When the Great Sun Divine Palace saw Elder Ling Bao admit defeat, they naturally did not want to start a war with the Great Sun Divine Palace. They did not stop Ling Bao's actions. They only used a secret technique to draw the destructive energy from the explosion into the void, burning the void into a sea of fire. Before long, the sea of fire dissipated, and Xing Hui appeared on the platform. His aura was weak, and he seemed to be at the end of his rope. However, compared to the dying Dao Wuxia, he was still standing on the battle platform, even though he was extremely weak. He also seemed to have the power of the fire warding pearl, which allowed him to preserve enough strength in this terrifying explosion. Three Clear Sect's Ling Bao looked at the star sacrifice and then looked at Xing Hui. He thought of the Great Sun Divine Palace high-level attendant Du Xiu who was with Xing Hui not long ago and instantly understood something. However, they just stopped the explosion from spreading. Strictly speaking, they didn't interfere with this battle. Even if he wanted to nitpick, he couldn't say anything. In the end, he could only say angrily, "You all, truly have good methods. Looks like Dao Wuxia is no longer able to fight. Thank you for letting me win." Xing Hui did not care about this never-ending realm expert's resentment. He cupped his hands and spoke in a clear voice. Good. 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 You're Dongyang, right? I'll remember you. Ling Bao snorted coldly, and there was a trace of threat in his tone. He turned around and left. Heh, Xing Hui chuckled softly. If it was any other prominent divine realm expert, they would probably not be able to eat or sleep well after being hated by a never-ending realm grand elder of a supreme sect. However, Xing Hui, soon, all the cultivators on the Fortune mainland would hate him to the core. Even those who had cultivated to the false core realm were no exception. What was a mere Ling Bao to him? Too much debt was no burden. Elder Du Sun, please announce the result of this battle. Alright, since the Three Clear Sect has admitted defeat. I declare the winner of this battle to be, wait a moment. Before Du Sun could open his mouth, Gao Chen from the Purple Firmament Palace had already shouted. He stood up with a cold expression and said, "The Fortune Grand Assembly does not allow the use of power that is not one's own." What Dongyang used just now was not an immortal technique, but a one-time use artifact similar to the sky-shaking lightning. It cannot be counted as a result. In my opinion, those who do not abide by the rules of the Fortune Grand Assembly should be disqualified. Their cultivation should also be crippled and expelled from the Fortune Grand Assembly. Only then can the Fortune Grand Assembly maintain its fairness. Ha! Ling Bao, who was filled with resentment towards this battle, suddenly came to his senses when he heard Gao Chen's words. He said loudly, "That's right. Nephew Gao Chen is right. What Dongyang used just now was neither an immortal technique nor a magical artifact. It was obvious that it was a one-time use artifact refined by Senior for him. If such a person can stand out in the Fortune Grand Assembly, then what's the point of competing in the future? Whoever has more resources can just send their artifact up. There's no need to go through so much trouble." Elder Ling Bao's words naturally received the support of many people. Qing Su was like a dark horse, consecutively defeating Nantian Do and Boundless Dao, two prodigies who had a chance of becoming the strongest, but the methods he used were basically nothing impressive. No one acknowledged his strength, so he was unable to convince the masses, so there were obviously many people who were jealous of him. Now that the Gaochen, numinous treasure, and so on had lured him out, who knew how many people were opposed to him? The situation fell into chaos. Using an external artifact. Xinghui looked at Gaochen and the others who agreed with him with an indifferent expression and said, "The Great Sun Golden Crow technique that I cultivate was not only contributed to the Purple Firmament Palace, but also to the Great Sun Divine Palace. These two forces should know that the eternal blazing sun I used just now is a special artifact derived from the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. If I can't use the special artifact derived from my own abilities, then doesn't that mean that all of you here are not qualified to use the artifacts refined by your seniors? Or perhaps, in this Fortune Grand Banquet, no one is allowed to use weapons or artifacts. Let's just rely on our own abilities to determine who is better. What do you think?" Tsing Hui's words stunned the cultivators who had been agreeing with him. Xing Ji of the Great Sun Divine Palace quickly said, "That's right. I can confirm what Elder Dong Yang said. The technique he used just now was an attack derived from the Great Sun Golden Crow technique that he cultivated. It's equivalent to an ultimate secret technique that is derived after one's cultivation has reached a certain level. The Fortune Grand Banquet rules that other than basic items such as weapons and flying swords, no one is allowed to use artifacts from others to interfere with the fairness of the battle. However, the Eternal Blazing Sun is an attack technique that Elder Dong Yang cultivated himself. If you really want to pursue this matter, then as Elder Dong Yang said, none of your artifacts can be used." Hearing Xinghui and Xing Ji's words, the noisy crowd gradually quieted down. Gaochen of the Purple Firmament Palace also changed his expression and slowly sat down. Not allowed to use artifacts. If they couldn't use artifacts, all of their battle strength would be reduced by 30%. Originally, many of them could still compete for the top 3 rankings by relying on artifacts. However, if they gave up their artifacts, they would be completely eliminated. Therefore, he didn't dare to say that artifacts were not allowed to be used. Moreover, they did have some understanding of the so-called Eternal Blazing Sun in Tsing Hui's hands. It was indeed a derivative of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. According to their calculations, even if Tsing Hui refined the Eternal Blazing Sun, 2 would be the limit. It was absolutely impossible for him to refine a third. If they really did not use artifacts in exchange for Tsing Hui's request to not use the Eternal Blazing Sun, they would be the ones to regret it. Very well. Since no one has any objections, then Elder Dong Yang wins this battle. Seeing that no one was speaking, Du Sen turned to Tsing Hui and said, "Elder Dong Yang, do you choose to rest for a day or continue? I need to rest for a day." Before Du Sen could finish, Tsing Hui had already spoken. "All right." Du Sen smiled and made an inviting gesture to Tsing Hui. His attitude was very kind. The more he looked at Tsing Hui, the more he liked him. Although the kid in front of him didn't have a high cultivation, his methods were strange. He had actually helped their Great Sun Divine Palace's Heaven's Pride, Lu Shiguo, eliminate the 2 biggest threats. At this rate, there was no doubt that Lu Shiguo would compete for first place. If Lu Shiguo won in the end, Tsing Hui would take the credit. Under the somewhat indignant gazes of the crowd, Tsing Hui leaped up and landed among the people of Burning Sky Sect. The people of Burning Sky Sect looked at Tsing Hui with embarrassment, not knowing what to say. However, Great Sun Divine Palace's Du Xiu stepped forward with a smile and cupped his hands. "Congratulations, Elder Dong Yang. If Elder Dong Yang can maintain this momentum, I'm afraid there's no hope for you to get into the top 3. I'll take advantage of your auspicious words. Originally, I just wanted to get into the top 10. But at this rate, I really want to try and see if I can get into the top 3. Tsing Hui smiled. Then we'll look forward to seeing Elder Dong Yang continue to rise like a hot knife through butter. As Tsing Hui stepped down, Lu Shiguo also leaped down and looked directly at Nantian-do. Brother Nantian-do, please enlighten me. In the primordial sect's direction, Nantian-do, who had obviously not fully recovered from his injuries, suddenly had an ugly expression. He didn't expect Lu Shigua to take advantage of this opportunity to add insult to injury. Nantian-do glanced at Lu Shigua and then looked at Xing Hui, who was obviously on the same side as Great Sun Divine Palace. He took a deep breath and said with a gloomy expression, "Lu Shigua, your Great Sun Divine Palace is really something." "Brother Nantian-do, you mean?" Nantian-do looked at Lu Shigua, who was in peak condition. He took a deep breath and said through gritted teeth, "I admit defeat." If the battle continued, his chances of winning were less than 10%. Moreover, his injuries would only worsen. In the end, he might not even be able to secure the third place. "Brother Nantian-do, thank you." Lu Shigua smiled and turned to the genius of the White Tiger sect. "Brother Bai Lu, please." Bai Lu had been severely injured by Nantian-do. Although he was in peak condition after 2 days of recovery, Lu Shigua was an expert on the same level as Nantian-do. If he couldn't defeat Nantian-do, he naturally wouldn't be a match for Lu Shigua. Moreover, Lu Shigua was gentle and didn't provoke him. Moreover, this was the territory of the Great Sun Divine Palace. Bai Lu didn't dare to be too presumptuous because of the Great Sun Divine Palace's face. He might as well do Lu Shigua a favor. "I admit that I can't defeat Brother Lu Shigua. I admit defeat." "Thank you, Brother Bai Lu." Lu Shigua cupped his fists. "I'll fight Brother Lu Shigua. Please give me some pointers on my fire immortal art." Ling Huyu, who lost to Nantian-do earlier, jumped out. He had exchanged glances with Boundless Dao before, so there was a high chance that he was one of the experts secretly supported by the Three Clarities sect. Now that he was fighting with Sacrificial Fire Lu, it was just a pretense to determine the victor. His real goal was to weaken Sacrificial Fire Lu. Chapter 326. In the following day, the battles never stopped. Especially Lu Jianhua, who was challenged by 3 people in a row. It was clear that these people had either reached an agreement in secret or had received some benefits. At the same time, they began to weaken Lu Li's sacrificial fire. Under such circumstances, even though Lu Jianhua had yet to experience any bitter battles, he had no choice but to rest for a day after defeating 2 people in a row. However, with today's victory and the previous victories, Lu Jianhua had accumulated 4 victories without a single defeat. Everyone could see that Lu Jianhua was getting closer and closer to the number 1 seat, and it was only a matter of time before he sat on that seat. That night, the various powers under the fortune pageant were in a commotion, and countless deals were made under the night sky. When a new day arrived, Boundless Dao and Nantian-do dragged their bodies that had yet to recover to their peak and challenged 2 cultivators. The 2 cultivators admitted defeat at the same time, and with their victory, Nantian-do and Boundless Dao gained a day's rest. On the other hand, Lu Jianhua immediately received a challenge from Gauchen of the Purple Cloud Palace. Even though Gauchen was slightly weaker than Nantian-do, Lu Jihua, and Boundless Dao, he was still a prodigy that the Purple Cloud Palace had carefully nurtured. He was a saint at the true origin level. When he fought with his full strength, he was able to match up to Lu Jihua. Only when Lu Jihua used 4 suns hovering in the sky of 10 suns burning the heavens did he manage to defeat Gauchen. However, after this battle, Lu Jihua was greatly injured. As for Qing Su, he had also challenged the vice sect master of the Fire Phoenix sect, Yu Yan, long ago. The 2 of them had erupted in a prolonged, great battle. This great battle allowed everyone to truly see Qing Su's battle prowess without the glorious sun sword. He was even stronger than the vision domain expert, especially when he was in his golden crow form. His battle prowess was tyrannical, enough to contend against true energy realm experts. However, the drawback of the vision domain expert's insufficient energy limited Qing Su's strength in the end. Although people paid attention to his strength, more people still placed their attention on Lu Jihua and Dao Wuya. As for Nantian-do, after losing 2 rounds, he had almost lost the number 1 seat in the fortune pageant. The battle continued. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, before they knew it, Lu Changhua had already accumulated 8 victories. On the other hand, everyone discovered to their surprise that the elder of the Burning Heaven sect, Dong Yang, who had always kept a low profile, had actually accumulated 6 victories before they knew it. He had even defeated the Holy Son of the Netherworld sect with a single glory of sun before he recovered from his injuries. Following the defeat of the Underworld sect's Holy Son, everyone felt that something was not quite right. Even Nan Tiando, Dao Wuya, Lu Jihua, and the others began to take Tsing Hui seriously. After all, Tsing Hui and Sacrificial Flame Lu were the only 2 contestants who had a perfect record. The remaining contestants, Nan Tiando and Dao Wuya, although their win rates were shocking, their overall results were still lower than Tsing Hui's. They couldn't help but take this discovery seriously. This is strange. This kid called Dong Yang is only in the prominent divine stage and has already defeated Dao Wuya and Nan Tiando. Logically speaking, he should have been eliminated. Why is he still alive and kicking? Moreover, he has already won 6 rounds. Now, other than Sacrificial Flame Lu, who has the highest chance of becoming number 1, his only opponents are the Heavenly Court's Holy Son, Hao Tian, and the Purple Cloud Palace's Holy Son, Go Chen, right? Putting Sacrificial Flame Lu aside, as long as he can defeat either Go Chen or Hao Tian, he has a 90% chance of becoming one of the top 3. This kid has not revealed his strength, yet he has lasted until now. Could it be that the 6 supreme sects are going to fail miserably? They have already failed. Are Nan Tiando and Dao Wuya not examples? I'd like to see how far he can go. Discussions continued. At this moment, everyone finally focused their attention on Tsing Hui. A new day of the fortune pageant had begun. This time, without waiting for the others to take the stage, Go Chen from the Purple Cloud Palace had already leaped up and landed in the center of the platform. He stared at Tsing Hui and said, "Your good luck ends here. Come down and accept your death." Tsing Hui glanced at Go Chen, then looked at the Heavenly Court's Holy Son, Hao Tian, and the last remaining opponent, Sacrificial Flame Lu from the Great Sun Divine Palace. Finally, he stood up slowly and said, "Yes, it's about time to end." After a few rounds, his victories had been extremely dangerous. In the last round, he had relied on the Sword of the Glorious Sun. Right now, in the eyes of the crowd, he only had 30% of his chi at his peak. This was also the reason why Go Chen dared to challenge Tsing Hui without hesitation. Whoosh! In a flash, Tsing Hui landed in the center of the platform. This time, his arrival did not cause too much of an uproar. Although he had also relied on the power of the Sword of the Glorious Sun to defeat the Yellow Spring Saint, he had only used this powerful killing move after fighting with the Yellow Spring Saint for a while. It was not a sneak attack, but it had slightly proved his ability. Under such circumstances, the crowd was impressed by his good luck. While he had managed to win 6 consecutive battles without anyone noticing, they were also curious to see how far he could go in the end. Dong Yang, I'll give you one last chance. Give up the chance to comprehend the Fortune Jade, and the Purple Cloud Palace will give you another chance to become a member of the Purple Cloud Palace. Otherwise, do you think Dao Wuya and Nan Tiando will be able to protect you in the future just because you ruined their hopes for the number 1 throne? Offending 2 great supreme sects, only death awaits you. Go Chen stared at Tsing Hui and said coldly. Is it because your IQ is too low, or is it because you're so short-sighted that you can only see what's happening in front of you? Can't you see that I've already received the protection of the Great Sun Divine Palace? With the Great Sun Divine Palace behind me, what can the Taisher sect and the Sanqing sect do to me? Do you know why I abandoned the Purple Cloud Palace and chose the Great Sun Divine Palace? It's because I'm truly worried about the Purple Cloud Palace's ability to nurture disciples. I'm afraid that if I stay with you so-called geniuses of the Purple Cloud Palace for too long, my brain will also become stupid and arrogant. In the end, I won't even know if I offend someone I can't afford to offend and get killed by a sword. Xing Hui looked at Go Chen with pity as if he was looking at a retard. Although his voice was soft, everyone present at the fortune pageant was an accomplished master of cultivation. Their hearing was extremely sharp. For a moment, their expressions became extremely strange. They looked at the elders and palace lords of the Purple Cloud Palace, wanting to laugh but not daring to. On the other hand, the supreme elder of the Purple Cloud Palace, Xiang Hong, was furious. How dare you insult the Purple Cloud Palace? You're courting death. Seeing that Xiang Hong seemed to have the intention to make a move, the Starry Worship Palace Master, who had a smile on her face, hurriedly said, Grand Elder Xiang Hong, please don't be impatient. I think this is actually Elder Dong Yang's method of using words to confuse the North Star True Disciple. He wants to use words to make the North Star True Disciple lose control of his emotions and gain the upper hand in the following battle. This kind of tactic is allowed. When Xing Hui saw that Star Worship Palace Master stood up for him, he smiled and said, You're right, Star Worship Palace Master. My goal is to confuse his mind with words. However, for a piece of trash like him who only knows how to be arrogant in his own sect and get beaten up the moment he leaves, it doesn't matter if I use this kind of tactic or not. How dare you? Dong Yang, how dare you? Do you really think that I can't do anything to you after joining the Great Sun Divine Palace? Go Chen was furious. Ever since he was taken in as a disciple by Supreme Elder Xiang Hong and was carefully trained, who in the Purple Cloud Palace dared to disrespect him? Who dared to speak to him in such a manner? Go Chen, why are you still talking nonsense? Just finish him off right away. Elder Du Sun, why aren't you announcing the start of the battle? Xiang Hong's eyes were cold as he reprimanded Go Chen. He then turned to Du Sun, who was gloating at the side. Du Sun, who originally wanted to continue watching the show, had to restrain himself when he heard Xiang Hong's words. He asked seriously, Are the two of you ready? Why do we need to prepare to deal with someone who only knows how to bark behind closed doors? Xing Hui said calmly. I'm going to kill you. Dong Yang, I'm going to kill you. Go Chen's eyes were bloodshot from anger. All right then. Be careful, the two of you. Friendship comes first, competition comes second. Let's forgive and forget. All right, let's begin. Let's begin, Du Sun said as he leaped up. As soon as he finished speaking, Gao Chen roared and unleashed the aura of a true energy stage powerhouse. He abandoned all his defenses and attacked with all his might. Die. Clang. Rank 9 Divine Sword, unsheathed. Sun Glory. In the next moment, a dazzling light exploded from the platform. Endless light and heat erupted and instantly engulfed everyone on the platform, including Go Chen. Huff. Elder Xiang Hong from the Purple Cloud Palace suddenly stood up when he saw the blinding light erupting from the center of the Colosseum. His eyes were filled with anger. This sword strike. This sword again. How is this possible? Didn't they say that this sword technique has a huge drawback? Didn't they say that his true energy would be completely depleted after this attack? He defeated the Yellow Spring Saint yesterday and only recovered 30% of his true energy. How can he perform this sword technique again? It's the same sword technique again. Go Chen is done for. He was provoked by Elder Dong Yang and went all out without holding back. Now that he's hit by this violent and blazing sword technique. TSK, I wonder what will happen to him. I'm curious. How can Dong Yang perform such a powerful sword technique again? Doesn't he only have 30% of his true energy left? Did he consume some top-notch medicine to recover his true energy? The dazzling light on the platform immediately attracted everyone's attention. Some were shocked, some were stunned, and some were confused. Some were even gloating over Go Chen's predicament. Finally, the dazzling light on the platform faded away, revealing Tsing Hui who had exhausted his true energy and Go Chen who was lying on the ground on the verge of death. The outcome was clear. If he was not worried that Xiang Hong, an Eternal Realm expert, would go crazy and attack him without regard for the rules, he would have killed Go Chen on the spot. Chapter 327. You. Gao Chen stared at Tsing Hui as he struggled to raise his right hand and point at him. His expression was filled with anger and frustration. I told you that you're a piece of trash who only knows how to fight among yourselves. You didn't believe me. Now you know your mistake. Tsing Hui panted for a while to recover his strength. Then, he calmly sheathed his sword. Pfft. Gao Chen, who was still panting, felt a surge of anger when he heard what Tsing Hui said. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood essence as he glared at Tsing Hui. Then, he tilted his head and fainted from anger. Gao Chen. Xiang Hong roared angrily. Then, he scolded the Central Earth Branch Palace Master, Xiang Jun, who was next to him. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and bring him to treat his injuries. Xiang Jun responded with an aggrieved expression. Wasn't all this trouble caused by you forcing Tsing Hui to hand over the right to comprehend the fortune divine jade? However, he didn't dare to say these words out loud. He only leaped up and landed on the platform, saying, "We admit defeat." Then, he personally stepped forward and brought Gao Chen away. In the end, when he passed by Tsing Hui, he looked at Tsing Hui with a complicated expression. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something. However, when he thought of the conflict between Tsing Hui and the Purple Cloud Palace, he could not say a word. He could only leave with Gao Chen in silence. Tsing Hui shook his head. He did not say anything to Xiang Jun. Instead, he turned to Du Sen, who had a strange expression on his face, and said, "Please announce the result." Du Sen regained his senses and nodded. I announce that the winner is Dong Yang of the Burning Sky sect. Elder Dong Yang, do you plan to continue the challenge or, I need to rest for a day? Tsing Hui said. Then, please. Tsing Hui leaped and landed in the Burning Sky sect's camp. This made the Burning Sky sect even more embarrassed. Tsing Hui had just obtained a victory and accumulated 7 victories. He had a chance of entering the top 3. Logically speaking, they should go and congratulate him. However, the conversation he had with Gao Chen and the rage of the Purple Cloud Palace's Supreme Elder had undoubtedly made everyone in Burning Sky sect understand that he had completely fallen out with the Purple Cloud Palace. Under such circumstances, as a subordinate force of the Purple Cloud Palace, Burning Sky sect really did not know how to treat Tsing Hui. Elder Dong Yang, congratulations. Du Xiu, on the other hand, stepped forward to express her congratulations without hesitation. Tsing Hui nodded slightly but did not reply. Because the next battle would be a direct confrontation between him and Lu Jianhua. After he defeated Lu Jianhua, the attitude of the Great Sun Divine Palace towards him might not be so warm. Palace Lord, it seems like 2 of the top 3 spots in this fortune meeting will be taken by my Great Sun Divine Palace. In the direction of the Great Sun Divine Palace, Supreme Elder Ji Guang, who had already come out of seclusion, looked at Xing Ji and said with a smile. I have underestimated Dong Yang. He actually managed to reach this step unknowingly. Now, he has already obtained 7 victories, right? Palace Lord, do you think that he might be a threat to the throne of the sacrificial flame? It doesn't matter. When the 2 of them fight in the final round, let Dong Yang concede to the sacrificial flame. I'm just afraid that he won't be tempted by the throne of the fortune meeting. It's not up to him. He has already thoroughly offended the Purple Cloud Palace. The Primeval Sect and the 3 Clear Sect are also dissatisfied with him. If he doesn't join our Great Sun Divine Palace, when the 3 Supreme Sects pursue the matter, only death will await him. Of course, we still have to observe his performance in the battle with the Heavenly Court's Holy Prince Hao Tian. If he can use the brilliant Sun Sword art consecutively, it proves that he has the ability to threaten the sacrificial flame. At that time, we can just give him some benefits. Unless he doesn't want to stay in the Fortune mainland anymore, I believe that he will make the right choice. Ji Guang smiled. That's true. Xing Ji nodded slightly, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. The fortune meeting is being held in our Great Sun Divine Palace. If he really doesn't know what's good for him, Xing Hui's brilliant sun sword art had defeated the Purple Cloud Palace's Gauchen, causing an uproar among the crowd. However, the competition for the throne of the fortune meeting continued. And today, Dao Wuya was about to face him in the battle for the first place, or rather, the second place. Against Nantian Do. If he could defeat Nantian Do, and then defeat the sacrificial flame, then it would be unknown who would obtain the throne of the fortune meeting. In this battle, the techniques displayed by Nantian Do and Dao Wuya shocked Xing Hui. Both Dao Wuya and Nantian Do were at the pinnacle of the true energy realm. Perhaps their techniques were still inexperienced compared to those of the older true energy realm cultivators who had awakened the saintly body. However, with the help of immortal techniques and secret treasures, they were able to do as they pleased in the true energy realm. The battle between the two of them made Xing Hui truly understand the gap between him and the two of them. If it weren't for the fact that the two of them underestimated him and didn't understand his techniques, he wouldn't even have a 30% chance of winning against them if he didn't use the divine art. Without reaching the true energy realm, there's no way I can fight against the heaven's favorites cultivated by the supreme sects. Xing Hui mumbled to himself. The throne of the fortune meeting was like pulling chestnuts out of the fire for him. Luckily, it was now the critical moment for him to reap the fruits of his labor. Next, he only needed to face one enemy, the heaven's favorite of the Great Sun Divine Palace, Sacrificial Flame Lu, who had a high-grade fire-warding pearl. The battle between Nantian Do and Dao Wuya ended in Dao Wuya's victory. At the most intense moment of the battle, Dao Wuya had a slight upper hand. However, before the two of them could fight to the death, Nantian Do voluntarily admitted defeat. This way, the two of them could preserve enough vitality to continue fighting for the top three. One had to admit that these two heaven's favorites were very courageous. Otherwise, if they really fought to the death, it would only benefit Sacrificial Flame Lu and the others. A day's time came to an end. And then, the event continued. In this battle, Xing Hui could not avoid facing the heaven's favorite of the heavenly court, Hao Tian. However, just like the Gauchen, the Saint of Yellow Springs, and so on, Hao Tian's strength lay in his secret treasures apart from the fact that he had reached true element realm through resources. His other aspects were not worth mentioning at all. Qing Su had completely nullified the advantage of his secret treasures with his Class 9 God artifact, flying swords, and armor. Instead, he even gained a slight upper hand. After a huge battle, he grasped the opportunity and secured victory with the glorious sun in the end. In this way, he and Sacrificial Flame Lu were tied for first place with 8 consecutive victories. Behind them was Dao Wuya, with 7 wins and 1 loss. The shape of the top 3 had been formed. No matter what, there would definitely be a place for Xing Hui in the top 3. This result naturally made the Burning Sky sect happy and worried. They were happy because after this battle, the Burning Sky sect would definitely become famous and have hope of revival. They were worried because Xing Hui had fallen out with the Purple Cloud Palace. Who knew if the Purple Cloud Palace's anger would affect the Burning Sky sect? Elder Dong Yang, the palace master invites you. Not long after returning to the Burning Sky sect, Du Xiu came to invite him respectfully. Xing Hui glanced at Du Xiu. Without guessing, he knew why the Starry Palace Master invited him. Considering that the Fortune Divine Jade was still in the hands of the Great Sun Divine Palace, although the possibility of the Great Sun Divine Palace playing tricks in front of so many sects in the world was not high, Xing Hui still followed Du Xiu to the East Flame Palace to listen to what they had to say. In the East Flame Palace, not only were Du Sun, Ji Guang, and the Palace Master, Starry Palace, there were also 3 other elders. Of the three elders, one was at the transformative realm, one was at the endless realm, and the last one's aura was perfect and did not leak out at all. If Tsing Hui had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have dared to believe that he really existed. Fake core. This was definitely an expert who had cultivated to the fake core realm. Greetings Palace Master, greetings elders. Tsing Hui politely bowed to everyone. Dong Yang, I didn't expect you to hide so deeply. You actually made it into the top 3 without anyone noticing. You can't judge a book by its cover. Starry Palace looked at Tsing Hui with a smile still on his face. Palace Master, you flatter me. I was just a little lucky and managed to survive. Otherwise, how could I have the chance to stand out in front of so many true energy realm experts? Actually, we don't need to say it. Dong Yang, you should know why we called you here, right? I know. Tsing Hui looked at Starry Palace. Palace Master, you want me to lose to Sacrificial Flame Lu on purpose in tomorrow's battle, right? That's right. Even if your chances of winning are not high in a head-on battle, Sacrificial Flame still has to leave enough power to fight against Dao Wuya. I don't want the two geniuses of our great Sun Divine Palace to fight to the death in the Fortune Banquet and let the Three Pure sect take advantage of it. Even though I have no objections to Palace Master Starry Palace's request, I don't agree with what Palace Master Starry Palace said about my chances of winning are not high. Oh. Hearing that Tsing Hui had no objections to his request, Starry Palace smiled. The other elders, including the fake Dan expert, all nodded in satisfaction. They seemed to be praising Tsing Hui for being tactful. Elder Ji Guang laughed when he heard the words that clearly belonged to a young Do Chi. Dong Yang, we have carefully studied your tactics. Many of your attacks are focused on fire affinity damage. However, Yihua has an upper-grade fire-repelling bead. With the strength of that upper-grade fire-repelling bead, it would be considered not bad for Yihua to survive even 20 to 30% of your attacks. Therefore, how can you defeat him? Elder Ji Guang, don't forget that Sacrificial Flame has a fire-repelling pearl, and so do I, but Sacrificial Flame is different from you. He has other methods besides fire elemental attacks. Then, how do you know that I don't have other methods besides fire elemental attacks? It's a good thing for a young man to be ambitious. The other methods you're talking about are the divine weapons, armor, and flying swords that you revealed 2 days ago. They are indeed not bad, but it's still not enough if you want to win against Sacrificial Flame. The fake Dan Stage Supreme Elder spoke. If I only rely on the flying swords, armor, and divine weapons, it's naturally not enough, but elders, can you make an agreement with me? Agreement? What agreement? If I face Sacrificial Flame, regardless of the outcome, I will admit defeat and hand over the first place to Sacrificial Flame Lu. I will take the second place. However, if I can gain the upper hand in the battle and show a certain chance of winning, the elders will have to provide me with the refining materials for the 10 Suns Burning Sky secret treasure and I will have the right to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade first. Chapter 328. Hearing Tsing Hui's words, Ji Guang, Du Sen, Xing Ji, and Lu Qilong, the Grand Supreme Elder of the False Pellet Stage, were stunned. How is that possible? How can you defeat the Sacrificial Flame? The elders shook their heads. Lu Qilong, the Grand Supreme Elder of the False Pellet Stage, waved his hand and stopped them. Since it's an agreement, we can give you 10 Red Sun secret treasures if you can do it. It's not easy to make the Red Sun wheel, but after thousands of years of accumulation, the Great Sun Divine Palace has dozens of them. We can give you 10 of them, and we can promise you that you have the priority to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade. But what if you can't do it? If I can't do it, I only need to use 5 of the 15 days to comprehend the Fortune Divine Jade and comprehend the 10 Suns Burning Sky. Lu Qilong, Ji Guang, and Xing Ji looked at each other and nodded. Okay, we promise you. After a while, Lu Qilong said, "Now, can you tell us where your confidence in defeating the sacrificial flame comes from?" Xing Hui thought for a while and decided to tell them the truth. The chaos inheritance I received was at the 20th level, and the chaos I inherited was at the 10th level. 10th level? Xing Ji's eyes widened. He immediately understood what Xing Hui was referring to. The divine technique? The divine technique that the 10th level Son of Chaos received that can raise one's cultivation by one level? Yes. Xing Hui nodded. It's a divine technique that can raise one's cultivation by one level. The divine technique can raise his cultivation to the true energy realm for a short period of time. True energy realm cultivation, divine grade golden crow combat body, and the divine grade divine weapon that he got by luck should be at the 9th level. The elders looked at each other and didn't say anything for a while. Lu Qilong's face also showed a bitter smile. I have considered all the factors that need to be considered, but I have neglected the divine art that can turn the situation around. It seems that we have lost the bet before it has even begun. Sigh. If there is a divine technique, then the sacrificial flame is indeed inferior to you. No wonder you are somewhat unwilling. The throne of first place is already within your reach, but you are still willing to give it to the sacrificial flame. It must be difficult for you. Star Sacrificial Tao. Xing Hui smiled. It doesn't matter. As long as I can fully comprehend the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique, I think it's worth it. In fact, before the start of the battle, I didn't think that I would have a chance to compete for first place. After all, no matter how powerful the divine technique is, it can only be used once to determine a victory. That's great. Dongyang, you don't have to use your divine technique to fight with the sacrificial flame. We'll trust you. Is it the scarlet sun wheel that supports the 10 suns burning sky? Just leave it to us. You have 8 victories, Yi Hua has 9, and Dao Wuya only has 7. The rankings of the two of you are pretty much set. Therefore, you should prepare to conserve your energy and comprehend the fortune jade. The effect of the fortune jade is the best at the beginning, but it will decrease gradually. Although the decrease is slow, it is indeed the case that those who comprehend it first will be able to comprehend more skills. Lu Qilong laughed and said. Hearing this, Xing Hui was slightly startled. He quickly cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Grand Elder." Beside them, Xing Ji could not help but sigh emotionally when he heard the conversation between the two of them. Back then, when you made the deal with us, we thought that 5 days of comprehension time for the creation divine jade was your limit. We never expected that you would actually be able to obtain the second position. Whether or not I can secure the second throne will depend on Daoist brother Lu Jianhua. If Daoist brother Lu Jianhua can defeat Dao Wuya, my second throne will be secured. If Daoist brother Lu Jianhua loses, even if he loses, the 3 of you will have 8 victories and 1 loss each. With the power of your divine technique, it won't be hard for you to defeat him. Elder Ji Guang said with a smile. Xing Hui nodded. Then, tomorrow, Yi Hua will battle with Dongyang. Dongyang will admit defeat. Then, Yi Hua will battle with Dao Wuya to determine the first and second place. That's how it should be. The elders of the Great Sun Divine Palace came to a consensus. On the other hand, Qing Su had achieved his objective indirectly, so he smiled. The 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique required 81 great sun crystals to be refined into a scarlet sun wheel using a special method. Only then could the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique be unleashed to the extreme. A scarlet sun wheel corresponded to one of the scorching suns of the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique. Without these 10 scarlet sun wheels, the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique would still be powerful, but it would not be able to achieve the boundless divine might of a saint realm expert's domain. The materials used to refine these 10 scarlet sun wheels were not precious. The key was that they were not easy to refine and took up a lot of time and energy. This could be seen from the fact that the Great Sun Divine Palace only had a few dozen scarlet sun wheels. Even if the Great Sun Divine Palace wanted to take out 10 scarlet sun wheels at once, it wouldn't be easy. The night passed quickly. With the dawn of the second day, the grand creation banquet finally ushered in the crucial moment of revealing the first place. Unlike before, when Qing Su appeared as a representative of the Burning Sky sect, countless gazes looked towards him at the same time. There were those who doubted him, those who looked down on him, those who looked down on him, those who looked down on him, those who admired him, and those who envied him. There was no need to list all of them. However, Tsing Hui's expression didn't change much in the face of these people's gazes. It was as if he didn't care about their gazes. When this scene fell into the eyes of many seniors and elders, they secretly nodded. Ignoring everything else, just Qing Su's mental state of mind that was as immovable as a mountain was praiseworthy. If it were anyone else, they would definitely not be able to remain as composed as they were right now under the gazes of countless people. The grand creation banquet continued as usual. Elder Du Sen went on stage and directly announced the start of the grand creation banquet. Then, Lu Jihua jumped up and his gaze fell on Tsing Hui. Under the faint expectant gazes of the crowd, he stretched out his hand to Tsing Hui and said, "Brother Dong Yang is definitely the biggest dark horse in this grand creation banquet. You have brought unexpected surprises to everyone, especially the Golden Crow divine body that Brother Dong Yang has cultivated. It is even more amazing. I am very curious about the power of the Golden Crow divine body. I wonder if Brother Dong Yang can help me." Tsing Hui seemed to have already rehearsed with Lu Jihua. He smiled and said, "The reason why I can reach this level today is all because of luck. I know my own true abilities very well. I am definitely not Brother Jihua's opponent. Therefore, I am willing to admit defeat." After Tsing Hui finished speaking, the crowd was in an uproar. Many boos sounded in the air above the grand creation banquet. Obviously, based on the relationship between Tsing Hui and the Great Sun Divine Palace, they had already guessed the reason behind Tsing Hui's admission of defeat. Silence. Silence. Hearing the chaotic atmosphere in the arena, Du Sen immediately channeled his true origin energy and shouted, suppressing the voices of the crowd, "Since Elder Dong Yang of the Burning Sky sect has already admitted defeat, then Elder Dong Yang's score of 9 battles is 8 wins and 1 loss. As for the remaining battle between Lu Jihua and Dao Wuya, it will be the final battle to determine the number 1 person of the Fortune Grand Assembly. Lu Jihua, do you want to apply for a day of rest or continue to challenge?" "Naturally, I want to continue to challenge." Lu Jihua's gaze turned towards Dao Wuya in the 3 clear sects direction. "Brother Wuya, it's time for the two of us to decide who is better. If you defeat me, you still have a chance to compete for the number 1 spot. If you lose, there will be no more hope. I have been waiting for this day for a long time. You guys borrowed Dong Yang's strength to weaken me and Nantian Dou's strength time and time again. Do you really think that you can firmly occupy the number 1 spot? Naive. I will definitely not let a despicable person like you continue to occupy our Fortune Mainland Supreme Divine Item." Dao Wuya stood up and leaped onto the platform. The atmosphere of the final battle was about to erupt. However, this battle was already meaningless to Tsing Hui. With a leap, he returned to the Burning Sky sect's area. Seeing Tsing Hui's return, Rockheart sighed, feeling a sense of loss in his heart. Even though Tsing Hui was not a member of the Burning Sky sect, he was still using the Burning Sky sect's name to participate in the Fortune Grand Banquet. Moreover, he only needed to win 1 more battle to defeat Lu Jihua, and he would be able to obtain the number 1 spot in the Fortune Grand Banquet, becoming the first disciple in the history of the Burning Sky sect to obtain the number 1 spot in the Fortune Grand Banquet. However, at the moment when he was so close to obtaining the number 1 spot, he gave up. Once he gave up, the entire Burning Sky sect could forget about obtaining the number 1 spot in the Fortune Grand Banquet for the rest of their lives. In just a short moment, she had already put away those unrealistic thoughts in her heart. Even though Tsing Hui had missed out on the number 1 spot, if Lu Jihua could defeat Dao Wuya, the number 2 spot would definitely belong to Tsing Hui. If he could obtain the number 2 spot, everyone in the Burning Sky sect would thank the heavens and pray to Buddha. After all, the Burning Sky sect's best result in history had never been to enter the top 10, let alone the top 3 and obtain the number 2 spot. On the battle stage, the battle between Lu Jihua and Dao Wuya quickly erupted. In order to prevent any accidents and ensure that nothing went wrong, not only did the Grand Elders of the Great Sun Divine Palace personally appear and guard the battle stage, but even the Three Purities sect also sent experts to stand outside the battle stage. If anything happened to Dao Wuya on the battle stage, or if the Great Sun Divine Palace tried to interfere with the fairness of the battle, they would immediately step in to stop them. Unfortunately, the accident did not happen. Lu Jihua had won consecutively and his fighting spirit was high. His aura had already accumulated to the extreme. On the other hand, Dao Wuya's spirit had already been thwarted by Tsing Hui. In his heart, the outcome of this battle was extremely important. Carrying the burden of his spirit, he could not unleash his full strength at all. The completely different state of mind caused the originally evenly matched opponents to reveal the outcome of the battle in just a short moment. After a battle that lasted close to 2 hours, Lu Jihua's advantage continued to accumulate and expand. At the crucial moment, he managed to secure victory with one strike. With one victory, Lu Jihua's record of 9 victories secured him the number 1 spot in the Grand Assembly. Behind him was Tsing Hui, who had only lost to Lu Jihua for a short while. With 8 wins and 1 loss, he was in second place. Dao Wuya had lost to Tsing Hui and Lu Jihua consecutively. With 7 wins and 2 losses, he was in third place. Nan Tian-do, who originally had the chance to compete for the number 1 spot in the Grand Assembly, did not even make it into the top 3 this time. Even though the 4th spot was definitely his, other than sounding good, there was no real benefit to it. The time to study the Fortune Jade and the 11th item was only 5 days. The remaining 5th, 6th, and the rest of the ranking still needed a few days to be ranked. For example, those with 5 wins and 4 losses would have to fight against those with 5 wins and 4 losses to determine the ranking. However, the number of people paying attention to these rankings was obviously not as high as before. It could be said that after the battle between Lu Jihua and Dao Wuya, the Grand Assembly of Fortune had come to an end. Just like that, after a few more days, the top 10 of the Grand Assembly of Fortune had finally been decided. The ranking round of the Grand Assembly of Fortune had come to an end. Next, it was time to activate the Fortune Jade and allow the top 10 Heaven's favorites to study it. Chapter 329. The Fortune Jade this time will be in the hands of our Great Sun Divine Palace again. Xing Ji, Ji Guang, Lu Qilong, and the other elders all smiled. They constantly clasped their hands towards the great elders, palace lords, and sect masters of the supreme sections. Even though the supreme sects were displeased that they had failed to obtain a satisfactory ranking, they did not show it in order to maintain their composure. They still reluctantly agreed with Xing Ji and the others. After exchanging greetings, the representatives of the top 10 sects finally arrived before Xing Ji. They were led to the palace where the Fortune Jade was stored under Xing Ji's lead. The palace was located at the very core of the Great Sun Divine Palace. There were 5 courtyards around the palace, and the remaining 5 sects would stay in these courtyards. On one hand, it was to ensure that the Fortune Jade was safe. On the other hand, they could keep an eye on their juniors to prevent any accidents from happening. As Xing Ji activated the Fortune Jade under the witness of the great elders of the various sects, the fortune gathering had reached the most crucial stage. Alright, the Fortune Jade has been activated. Next, it's time to comprehend it. Xing Ji's gaze swept over the crowd below. Even though the fortune gathering had decided on 10 prodigies, allowing the sects behind them to gain the right to comprehend the Fortune Jade, this did not mean that the time to comprehend the Fortune Jade would belong to the chosen prodigy. To ensure fairness, every sect would choose 1 or 2 successors to accompany them. As a result, in the past 3 months, the number of cultivators who would be able to comprehend the fortune jade was not 10. Instead, there were 44 people. According to the rules, any sect can freely choose who to comprehend the fortune jade and when to comprehend it within their own time limit. Our great Sun Divine Palace's prodigy, Lu Jihua, has luckily obtained first place in this gathering, so the first person to comprehend it will naturally be someone from our great Sun Divine Palace, Xingji said. As Xingji said that, he looked at Qing Su and smiled faintly. All right, Elder Ji Guang, take Dongyang to comprehend the wonders of the fortune jade. He can spend 11 days in there. An uproar rang out from the crowd as soon as he said that. However, when they thought of the various incidents during the battle between Xing Hui and Lu Jihua, the discussion died down after a while. Only the elders of the other 5 sects snorted unhappily. However, they did not say anything about it since it was within the rules. It was not like they had not done something like this in the past. Thank you, Palace Lord. Qing Su heaved a sigh of relief inside when he saw Xing Ji keeping his word. He was really afraid that Xing Ji would go back on his word and take away his qualification as the first person to comprehend the fortune jade. Even though he could still comprehend the fortune jade according to his ranking, that would be a waste of a month's time. In terms of Daoist rhymes, it would be over 300 points. You've done a great service for our great Sun Divine Palace, so we naturally can't let you down. Alright, Elder Ji Guang, take Dongyang in. Yes, Palace Lord. Ji Guang nodded and gestured at Xing Hui. Elder Dongyang, please follow me. Thank you, Elder Ji Guang. Xing Hui said and followed Ji Guang into the hall. This scene made the other cultivators extremely jealous, especially Go Chen of the Purple Cloud Palace and Nantian Do of the Primordial Sect. Their faces were filled with gloom. Bastard, I don't believe that you will be able to comprehend anything from the 11 days of comprehension of the Fortune Divine Jade. Don't let me meet you alone outside the Great Sun Divine Palace, otherwise I will make you beg for death. Go Chen gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with hatred. Nantian Do also clenched his fists tightly as he glared at Qing Su who had stepped into the palace. If it weren't for the fact that there were so many grand elders of the various sects watching them and that martial arts were not allowed in the Good Fortune Temple, violators would have been stripped of their qualifications and would never be able to use the Fortune Jade again. Otherwise, he probably would not have been able to hold himself back and would have made that kid truly understand the power of his star bead. Dong Yang, you've ruined my opportunity. This matter won't end so easily. The other proud sons of heaven were more or less dissatisfied with Dong Yang, who had mostly relied on luck to win second place in the Grand Assembly. However, since this matter was already a foregone conclusion, the decision of the Supreme Elders was not something that the juniors of the sect could refute. They could only suppress this dissatisfaction and resentment in their hearts, waiting for an opportunity to take revenge in the future and wash away their shame. Looking at Qing Su who had vanished from the entrance of the palace, Du Sen said in a rather strange manner, Palace Master, the effects of the Fortune Jade gradually weaken after it's activated. Although the weakening isn't obvious, according to our research, the mysteries of the Fortune Jade when it's activated are almost twice as dense as 3 months later. Even if Dongyang has only been studying the Fortune Jade for 11 days, the mysteries of the Fortune Jade will probably have weakened by more than 10% by the time the sacrificial flame starts to comprehend the Fortune Jade. We've already given him 10 Scarlet Sun Discs, which is more than enough to make up for the loss he suffered when he admitted defeat during the battle. Why are you giving away the best opportunity to comprehend the Fortune Jade? I've also considered this matter, but we can't just focus on the present. We have to think about the future. According to my understanding, this Dong Yang isn't too old. If he can break through to the true element boundary in the next Fortune Grand Assembly, it's highly likely he'll take first place again. If we go back on our word and disappoint him, I'm afraid he won't be willing to help our great Sun Divine Palace in the next Fortune Grand Assembly. Ren Hua said. Hearing this, Dusan was slightly enlightened. I see. Palace Master is far-sighted. Dusan can't compare. It's reasonable that you didn't consider this. It's only 11 days. Our great Sun Divine Palace can still afford to wait. Dusan nodded and didn't say anything more. Inside the palace, under the guidance of Ji Guang, he quickly came to a specially built cultivation room. In this room, which had almost no exits, the fortune jade was placed. Outside the room, Tsing Hui sensed 6 obscure and tyrannical auras. Without exception, these 6 auras were all never-ending realm experts with endless true essence. Dong Yang, the fortune jade has been completely activated. In a while, you can directly step into the cultivation room to meditate on the fortune jade. If you want to stop meditating or have other needs, just ring the bell in the cultivation room. Someone will come to meet your needs. According to the rules, you can't leave the cultivation room for 11 days. Understand? I understand. Tsing Hui nodded. The fortune jade was a supreme treasure of the fortune mainland. Naturally, the people of the fortune mainland placed great importance on its safety. With a single glance, one could tell that this cultivation room was filled with countless formations. If a cultivator wanted to enter and leave without alerting anyone, it was simply a fool's dream. Time is of the essence. I won't disturb you from meditating on the fortune jade. I hope that in these 11 days, you can advance the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal art to 3, 4, or even 5 days. You can bring glory to our great Sun Divine Palace's 10 suns burning the heavens immortal art. Elder Ji Guang, don't worry. I will do my best. Go. We're going to open the cultivation room's door and activate the formation. Don't worry, no one will disturb you during this period. You can focus on comprehending the immortal art. Yes. Tsing Hui nodded and stepped into the cultivation room. The moment he entered the cultivation room, the 3-meter-thick door that was made of an unknown material was opened. At the same time, various formations were activated and activated. In an instant, the entire cultivation room was impregnable. Not to mention a prominent divine realm cultivator like Tsing Hui, even if those endless divine realm experts stood outside the cultivation room and attacked for 3 days and 3 nights, they wouldn't be able to do anything to the cultivation room. Finally, it's time to reap the harvest. Tsing Hui slowly walked forward and arrived in front of the fortune jade fragment. This fortune jade was extremely small. It was only half the size of a sunflower seed. It could barely be made into the surface of a ring. The surface of the jade was purple in color. Due to the activation of the formation, purple light flowed on the surface of the jade. It looked deep and profound, as if there was a mysterious dark purple universe hidden inside. Just a glance at it would cause one's mind to be immersed and mesmerized. As expected, this is the incomplete part of the fortune divine jade that I have. Tsing Hui walked forward and came to the side of the fortune jade. When he arrived in front of the fortune jade, a notification from the Chaos Temple sounded in his mind. Discovered treasure carrying the Tao. It contains 899 Tao auras. Do you wish to fuse it? Hiss. Hearing the notification from the Chaos Temple, even though Tsing Hui was mentally prepared, he was still secretly shocked by this terrifying number. 899. With just a little bit more Tao aura, it would be equivalent to 9 chaos grades. It must be known that the great war that had broken out in the divine wilderness continent back then was only formed by a treasure carrying the Tao that contained thousands of Tao auras. In that war, countless invincible divine realm experts had fought and countless almighty experts had fallen. Even among the invincible divine realm experts, more than half of them had died in that war. A small portion of them had died because their injuries were too severe. It was because of that war that countless inheritances in the divine wilderness had been severed and countless top sons of chaos had died. Even the divine wilderness spirit veins had been destroyed by that war, causing the cultivation world of the divine wilderness to gradually decline. The 899 Tao auras in the fortune jade could not be compared to the treasure carrying the Tao that had broken the divine wilderness continent. However, once it was exposed, even almighty experts or invincible divine realm experts would not hesitate to take action and completely take it for themselves. Xing Hui took a deep breath and suppressed the churning thoughts in his mind. He immediately held the fortune jade in his hand. When the fortune jade entered his hand, the fortune jade in his mind trembled slightly and emitted a kind of summoning fluctuation. Under the influence of this fluctuation, the fortune jade in Xing Hui's hand seemed to be attracted by some strange force. It seemed like it was about to fuse with the fortune jade in his mind that no longer had a substance. This is not a good place to fuse with the fortune jade. Once someone in the Great Sun Divine Palace can confirm whether the fortune jade is still in the Great Sun Divine Palace's territory, it won't be easy for me to leave safely after I fuse with it. Qing Su forcefully suppressed the urge of the fortune jade in his spiritual world to fuse with the fortune jade in his hand. He immediately focused his attention on the teleportation technique in the Chaos Temple's interface. Fortune Continent. In the future, I will return. Purple Firmament Palaces Gaochen, Grand Beginning Sex Nantian Do, 3 Clear Sex Boundless Tao. You're not willing to admit defeat in the Fortune Grand Banquet? When the time comes, I will let you understand the true difference between us. Then, goodbye. Whoosh! In the next moment, the transmission technique was activated and a vast and mysterious energy quickly wrapped around Xing Hui's body, bringing him into some kind of high-dimensional space. It did not disturb the formation outside the cultivation room at all, and just like that, it disappeared from the cultivation room. Chapter 330. Great Sun Divine Palace. Outside the cultivation room where the fortune jade was, Xing Ji, Ji Guang, Lu Qilong, and Lu Jihua brought Lu Jihua, the real winner of the fortune gathering, to the cultivation room. Looking at the closed door, Lu Qihua couldn't help but frown. He turned to Ji Guang and said, 11 days have passed, right? If we count in terms of hours, the 11 days haven't passed yet, but if we count in terms of days, the 11 days have passed. Ji Guang said. Since the 11 days have passed, what are we waiting for? Ask Dong Yang to come out. He has already occupied the most advantageous 11 days. If he has a good comprehension of the 10 suns incineration, he should have finished it long ago. If he can't comprehend the mystery of the 10 suns incineration, it's just a waste of time to let him continue. Ji Guang, go, ring the doorbell and ask him to come out. Lu Qihua said impatiently. Yes, elder. Ji Guang answered and rang the doorbell outside the cultivation room. However, there was no response. Xing Ji was slightly startled and said doubtfully, could it be that Dong Yang has reached the most critical moment of comprehending the 10 suns incineration and is completely immersed in comprehending the 10 suns incineration and didn't hear the doorbell? How is that possible? The doorbell outside the gate is not a simple bell, but a calming bell, a magical secret treasure. He can hear it even if he's in a critical situation, let alone comprehending the 10 suns incineration immortal technique. Humph, this kid has become a little ignorant in the face of benefits. There are only a few hours left until the 11 days are completely up. What's more, we're already here to ask him to come out. Why should he waste time occupying the fortune divine jade? Just raise the gate. This, Ji Guang hesitated for a moment, but when he thought of the relationship between Lu Jihua and Lu Qilong, he didn't disobey Elder Lu Qilong's order. He immediately performed a series of incantations to open the outer formation. Then, he pressed a mechanism and the heavy gate slowly rose with a soft sound, revealing the space inside the cultivation room. And inside the cultivation room, it was empty. Ji Guang, Lu Qilong, Lu Jihua, and Xing Ji's expressions changed at the same time and they rushed in immediately. Where is he? Where did Dong Yang go? Fortune Divine Jade. Where is the Fortune Divine Jade? Come! Men! Shouts rang out at the same time. The moment Ji Guang and the others opened the door and saw that there was no one in the cultivation room, the 6 Endless Realm experts guarding outside the cultivation room flew over at the same time. In an instant, they appeared outside the cultivation room. When they saw the empty cultivation room and the missing Fortune Divine Jade, their expressions changed drastically. What's going on? Where did our Fortune Mainland Supreme Fortune Divine Jade go? Upon hearing the words of the 6 Tranquil Stage experts, Xing Ji abruptly turned his gaze to the Tranquil Stage Supreme Elders who represented different sections. I should be the one asking the few of you where the Fortune Divine Jade went. The few of you have been guarding outside the cultivation room. Don't tell me you don't know where Dong Yang took the Fortune Divine Jade. We've been waiting outside the cultivation room, constantly paying attention to the door of the cultivation room. This door hasn't been opened at all in the past 11 days. Not only has the door not been opened, even the array outside has not shown any signs of being activated. That's right. We didn't see the door open, and the array outside has been operating normally. When Xing Ji heard this, the anger in his heart grew even stronger. We didn't see anyone leave, and the array hasn't been activated, buzz buzz. At this time, Lu Qilong pointed at the ground, and transparent blue waves suddenly spread in all directions with his finger as the center, covering a radius of hundreds of meters. After a while, he said with a gloomy expression, "No, other than the few of us, there are no signs of life within a few hundred meters." The other elders also used their own immortal arts to investigate the palace with the cultivation room as the center. However, the results they obtained in the end still made them shake their heads. Dong Yang is a member of your Great Sun Divine Palace. Now that the Fortune Divine Jade is in the territory of your Great Sun Divine Palace, it's obvious that your Great Sun Divine Palace wants to monopolize the Fortune Divine Jade. One of the Supreme Elders from the 3 Pure Sect, who had long criticized Xing Hui and Lu Qilong for occupying the first and second thrones, shouted angrily. "Humph, the cultivation room is personally guarded by the Supreme Elders of the 6 Supreme Sections. Since our Great Sun Divine Palace is so powerful, how can we steal the Fortune Divine Jade and Dong Yang from under the eyes of the 6 of you? Moreover, if our Great Sun Divine Palace wants to monopolize the Fortune Divine Jade, we shouldn't do it in our own territory. Isn't that just making others suspicious?" Lu Qilong said with dissatisfaction. The other Supreme Elders had also witnessed the entire matter with their own eyes. At the same time, they also felt that the Great Sun Divine Palace wouldn't do such a thing in their own sect unless they felt that they could withstand the wrath of the other 5 Supreme Sections. Therefore, they didn't go along with the 3 Pure Sect Supreme Elder. "Investigate. Investigate. Investigate for me. No matter what method we use, we have to find Dong Yang. The Fortune Divine Jade is the treasure of our Fortune Mainland. Anyone who dares to touch the Fortune Divine Jade will become the enemy of the entire Fortune Mainland. Even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground, we have to find Dong Yang. Damn it, I didn't think that this bastard would dare to steal the Fortune Divine Jade. If I catch him, I'll skin him alive and grind his bones to dust. Only then will I be able to vent the hatred in my heart. Mobilize the strength of all the sects on the Fortune Mainland. Don't miss a single corner. As long as he's on the Fortune Mainland, we'll definitely be able to find him." These Endless Realm experts represented the strength of the 6 Supreme Sects on the Fortune Mainland. Not only were they responsible for guarding the Fortune Divine Jade, they were also the liaison between the sect that held the Fortune Divine Jade and the other sections. Very soon, the news had spread to their respective sections. In an instant, the entire Fortune Mainland was in an uproar. The Fortune Divine Jade was one of the Fortune Mainland's supreme treasures. The Fortune Mainland's current glory was all thanks to the Fortune Divine Jade. Before the Fortune Divine Jade appeared, the strongest cultivator on the Fortune Mainland was merely a true essence boundary cultivator. From this point alone, one could see how important the Fortune Divine Jade was to the Fortune Mainland. But now, the Fortune Divine Jade was actually lost. For all the cultivators on the Fortune mainland, it was as if the sky had collapsed. Countless people spontaneously began to investigate everyone, trying to find Dong Yang's whereabouts. For a time, the entire Fortune mainland was in a state of panic. Unfortunately, all of this had nothing to do with Tsing Hui for the time being. After experiencing the mysteries of the transmission technique once again, his figure appeared in his personal cultivation room on the Moon Lake Island. Even though this cultivation room was nowhere close to the cultivation room in the Great Sun God Palace in terms of scale and defenses, where it could only be described as crude before the cultivation room, Qing Su still felt a sense of familiarity from the bottom of his heart. Unknowingly, he had a sense of belonging to the Eastern Wasteland. Although he had always wanted to return to Earth, to see Jiang Ningji again, to fulfill his promise, and to reunite with his parents, family, and friends, but, the Eastern Wasteland had already vaguely made him feel like a second home. "I'm back." Tsing Hui looked at the simple and crude cultivation room that belonged to him completely. No one would dare to disturb him, and he slowly let out a sigh of relief. Thinking back to his experiences on the Fortune mainland in the past year, he couldn't help but feel a sense of fatigue in his heart. He was a stranger in a foreign land. In order to obtain the Fortune Divine Jade, he had racked his brains against the Purple Firmament Palace and the Great Sun Divine Palace. The amount of effort and energy he had spent during this period was indescribable. Fortunately, Tsing Hui slowly held the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand. Fortunately, he had successfully obtained the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand and used a teleportation technique to return safely. Feeling the strong sense of fusion between the Fortune Divine Jade in his spiritual world and the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand, Tsing Hui no longer suppressed this feeling. He also wanted to see how this material Fortune Divine Jade would enter his spiritual world and become a mysterious and obscure illusory existence. As Tsing Hui relaxed his desire to fuse with the Fortune Divine Jade, the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand suddenly emitted specks of purple light and fused with his body. Then, these specks of purple light seemed to turn illusory, shuttling back and forth in his body, and quickly condensing in the space between his eyebrows where his spiritual world was located. Then, the Fortune Divine Jade fused with his spiritual world. After absorbing these specks of purple light, the Fortune Divine Jade with 3 missing corners in his spiritual world gradually recovered. It was as if the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand had turned into purple light and dissipated. The Fortune Divine Jade in his spiritual world recovered by the same amount. One was illusory, one was real, and the other was illusory. This scene made Tsing Hui feel a little incredulous. How magical! Tsing Hui clicked his tongue and muttered to himself. However, this muttering only lasted for a moment, and his expression changed slightly. The Taoist rhyme value. That's not right. Tsing Hui glanced at the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand, and then sensed the Fortune Divine Jade in his spiritual world. He suddenly felt that the Chaos Temple's notification had changed completely. The Fortune Divine Jade in his hand that contained 899 points of Taoist rhyme kept turning into purple light and replenishing the Fortune Divine Jade in his spiritual world. The Taoist rhyme value was getting lower and lower. In just a moment, it was only left with 769 points of Taoist rhyme. However, after losing 769 points of Taoist rhyme, the Fortune Divine Jade in his spiritual world only increased by 13 points of Taoist rhyme. The conversion ratio was 1 to 10. The 10 points of Taoist rhyme in the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand could only be converted to 1 point of Taoist rhyme value in the Fortune Divine Jade in his spiritual world. This change made Tsing Hui quickly stop the fusion between the Fortune Divine Jade in his spiritual world and the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand. What's going on? Aren't they both Taoist rhymes? Why is the Fortune Divine Jade in my hand only left with 1 point of Taoist rhyme after being converted to the Fortune Divine Jade in my spiritual world? Tsing Hui's face was full of confusion. After carefully sensing the 2 pieces of Fortune Divine Jade in the illusory and real world, Xing Hui had to admit that the Taoist rhyme ratio of the two pieces of fortune divine jade was indeed 10 times different. Chapter 331. It's not worth it. Xing Hui looked at the fortune jade in his hand. Originally, he wanted to wait for the two pieces of fortune jade to merge before using the fortune jade to comprehend the supreme immortal technique he had learned during this period of time. But now, after the Tao aura of the fortune jade in his hand had all fallen into the spiritual world, there were only 100 points left. How could he activate the fortune jade in his spiritual world? Stop merging and comprehend the immortal technique. Xing Hui forcefully suppressed the feeling of the fortune jade in his spiritual world merging with the fortune jade in his hand. He began to use the fortune jade to comprehend the various immortal techniques he had learned during this period of time on the fortune mainland. In the 1 year on the fortune mainland, he had obtained a total of 7 immortal techniques, 2 artifact refining techniques, 2 secret treasures, and the scarlet sun wheel that was required to support the supreme immortal technique, 10 suns burning heavens. The 7 immortal techniques were magic arsenal, reversal of yin and yang, fasting technique, 1 chi into 3 pure ones, soul travel technique, star shift technique, and 10 suns burning heavens. The 2 secret treasures were the fire resistance pearl that could greatly reduce fire attribute damage and the earth-shaking rod that could cause earthquakes and tsunamis. Among these immortal techniques, Xing Hui had already comprehended the basics of magic arsenal. As for the remaining immortal techniques, Xing Hui's gaze swept through them one by one and soon stopped on the 10 suns burning heavens. If he could really comprehend this supreme immortal technique of the Great Sun Divine Palace with the help of the Fortune Jade, and with the help of the Scarlet Sun Wheel, it would definitely increase his battle strength in the prominent sage stage. At that time, with the strength of his divine grade battle physique, it would not be difficult for him to fight against true element stage experts who did not have divine grade battle physiques. After recalling the 10 suns burning heavens technique, Xing Hui quickly took out the Fortune Jade and visualized the 10 suns burning heavens technique. With the help of the many mysteries in the Fortune Jade, he began to deduce the 10 suns burning heavens technique. After half an hour, Xing Hui suddenly opened his eyes. Something's wrong. Although his progress in comprehending the 10 suns burning heavens technique was extremely fast with the help of the Fortune Jade, it was more than 100 times faster than his own cultivation, but, compared to the last time when he cultivated the magic arsenal beam transformation technique, the efficiency was much slower. Is it because the 10 suns burning the heavens immortal technique is difficult to cultivate, or is it because of the Fortune Divine Jade? Moments later, Xing Hui's attention was focused on the immortal technique, casting beam soldiers. This celestial art had almost reached the initial success stage after his continuous comprehension. He was only one step away from the initial success stage. With the thought of verifying his conjecture, he quickly focused his mind and used the Fortune Divine Jade in his hand to comprehend the cast beam soldier celestial technique. Very soon, another half an hour passed. Xing Hui opened his eyes once more. This time, he was already able to confirm that it wasn't because the cultivation of the 10 burning heavens technique was difficult, but rather, the Fortune Jade in his hand was indeed a lot less effective than the Fortune Jade in his spiritual world when it came to comprehending immortal spells. If he used the Fortune Jade in his spiritual world to cultivate, he could advance 1,000 miles in a day. Although the Fortune Jade in his hand still had a significant effect on immortal spells, the two were not on the same level at all. Earlier, he was still wondering why he could cultivate the magic arsenal technique in the time it took for an incense stick to burn with the help of the Fortune Jade. The people in this world also had Fortune Jades, and once they activated them, they could last for 3 months. Why were there so few people who could cultivate so many supreme immortal spells to perfection? No. Not to mention perfection, it was rare to even reach the initial success stage. Those who could reach the initial success stage were usually some high-level immortal spells or even ordinary immortal spells. Now it seemed that, the problem was with the Fortune Jade. However, it was understandable. Compared to the fortune jade in his spiritual world, the one in his hand with a physical object was too small. It was reasonable that its effect was not as good as the one in his spiritual world. Looks like I have to be careful when using the Tao aura derived from the fortune jade in my spiritual world. When I use it, I have to focus on comprehending immortal spells. As for the consumption of Tao aura every day, I have to work on the Tao aura items I collect in the outside world, Xing Hui muttered to himself. He faintly guessed that he was wasting a Tao aura derived from the fortune jade to increase his chaos level. However, he didn't regret it. If he didn't have the fortune jade to increase his chaos level every day, how could he reach the 30th level of chaos level? How could he cultivate to the prominent divine stage in just a few years, where his combat strength was not inferior to a saint stage expert? Without the prominent divine stage, he naturally wouldn't be able to stand out in the Fortune Mainland's Fortune Grand Banquet, not to mention the series of schemes that followed to successfully bring the Fortune Jade back to the Eastern Wasteland. Since the Fortune Jade in my hand has an ordinary auxiliary effect for immortal spells, I naturally can't waste the Tao aura in it on cultivating immortal spells. Xing Hui glanced at the remaining 769 Tao aura points and quickly divided his consciousness into the Chaos Divine Palace's personal space. He took a step and appeared in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion in his personal space. As Xing Hui's consciousness connected to the Chaos Treasure Pavilion, he couldn't help but be slightly stunned. It changed. Among the many treasures in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion, there were no longer the Qilin Baby, Boundary Stone, Dragon Ball, Star Stone, and so on. Instead, there were 10 completely different items. It has been more than a year since the Chaos Treasure Pavilion opened. It's reasonable that the items in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion have been replaced. As he thought about it, Xing Hui couldn't wait to look at the first ice wall. Chaos Egg. An unborn divine beast Chaos Egg. This was good stuff. It cost 300 Tao aura. Xing Hui could buy it. If he could sell it, it wasn't impossible for him to get a few hundred Tao aura points. However, he was so important that it would not be easy to sell him off. Even if he could earn a few dozen or 100 Daoist rhymes in profit, Qing Su's channel would not be able to sell him off easily. His only hope was to rely on Heaven's channel. Qing Su was not too willing to do something like owing someone a favor. Then, he looked at the second frozen wall. Primordial Spirit Qi. It was a normal treasure. However, what made Xing Hui's eyes light up was that there were 10 portions of Primordial Spirit Qi. 10 portions of Primordial Spirit Qi were sold for 100 Tao aura points. Coincidentally, Xing Hui needed time to train his mind to the 80th order. He bought all 10 portions of Primordial Spirit Qi without hesitation. Next, the third ice wall, Xing Hui looked at it one by one. Without exception, most of these ice walls were precious treasures that almighties would fight over. However, there were still one or two items that Xing Hui didn't know what they were used for. For example, the divine stainless water, it only stated that it could awaken remnant souls. However, his cultivation level and even the cultivation level of the Heaven Wasteland domain had yet to reach the level of the soul. There was also the whirling leaf that could allow one to have an epiphany of Buddhist principles. In addition to these treasures that he didn't know what they were used for, there were also a few treasures that were expensive but difficult to sell. After weighing the pros and cons, Xing Hui didn't choose to buy the Egg of Chaos. Instead, he spent 100 Tao aura points to buy a non-falling flower and 60 Tao aura points to buy a bottle of divine refined water. The non-falling flower was also known as the immortal flower. Its greatest effect was that it could extend anyone's life by 1,000 years. There were countless cultivators in the world, but how many of them could really cultivate the immortal golden core and live forever? In order to let their most important people live with them, those golden core experts tried all means to find elixirs that could extend their lives. The previous non-falling flower was sold for 186 Tao aura points. If his non-falling flower could still be sold at that price, it would be equivalent to a profit of 86 Tao aura points. As for the divine refined water, it was a treasure that Xing Hui had bought for himself. The divine refined water could cleanse the impurities in one's vital energy, making it easier for cultivators to compress their vital energy from a gaseous state to a liquid state and condense divine-grade vital energy. Although he was only at the middle stage of the prominent sage stage, he believed that it wouldn't take long for him to reach the peak stage of the prominent sage stage with the support of Tianqiong. He had already bought the divine refined water to prepare for condensing divine-grade vital energy. After spending 260 Dao Aura points, I still have 409 Dao Aura points left. Xing Hui looked at the creation divine jade in his hand that had dimmed by a bit. He pondered for a while and focused his attention on his chaotic level. Buzz buzz. After a while, his chaotic level had already rushed to the 31st level. After some consideration, he decided to focus on the recovery attribute. The divine golden crow battle body consumed too much of his vital energy. He was very curious to see what kind of changes would occur if his recovery ability was raised to the 10th level. With the surge of a special power, Qing Su could clearly sense his body change drastically from inside out. The activity of every single cell in his body seemed to have been forcefully increased by several times, making him feel like he was brimming with energy in limitless. 7th level recovery. Xing Hui glanced at it and focused his attention on the chaotic level again. 32nd level, immediately after, he raised the recovery ability to the 8th level. The moment the recovery ability rushed to the 8th level, he clearly felt that his cells seemed to have undergone some kind of qualitative change. Originally, his cells could only divide 52 times, but at this moment, he seemed to have broken the shackles and evolved in a higher direction. 70 times, 80 times, 90 times, 100 times, 100 times, 100 times, 100 times, 100 times, 200 times, in the end, it stopped at 600 times, more than 10 times the previous 52 times. It should be noted that as a cultivator's cultivation level increased, the cell division cycle would also be extended, thus achieving the goal of prolonging one's life. An ordinary person's cells would usually divide once every 1 or 2 years. If there was any external interference, this division cycle would be shortened. However, due to the high activity of the cells of cultivators, the division cycle would usually be 5 or 6 years, or even longer. However, Xing Hui was maintaining the cell division cycle and continuously increasing the limit of the cell division cycle. This meant that from now on, even in terms of lifespan, he would far surpass other cultivators of the same level. Now, as long as my injuries are not so serious that they affect my foundation, it should not be difficult for me to live for 2,000 or 3,000 years. My lifespan is longer than that of an expert who has cultivated the immortal golden pill. The key is the activity of my cells. Xing Hui reached out and condensed his vital energy. He made a cut on his wrist, but this cut lasted for less than a breath. It had already turned pink, and in the next breath, it had already recovered to its original state. Unless my brain, heart, and other vital parts are smashed into pieces, even if my internal organs are burned, it will take less than half an hour to recover. As for piercing wounds, it will only take a few breaths. Of course, intense pain was still unavoidable. Xing Hui's eyes flashed, and he focused his attention on the chaos level again. Continue. Raise the recovery ability to the 10th level in one go. Chapter 332. Level 33. Level 9 Recovery Characteristic. He was almost immortal. Even if his heart was crushed, he could recover in the time it took for an incense stick to burn. Then, level 34. The next moment, Xing Hui's gaze focused on the recovery characteristic that he had upgraded from level 6 to level 9. The last level, the realm of rebirth from a drop of blood. Xing Hui took a deep breath. Suddenly, the recovery characteristic of level 9 became blurry, and then, it rushed to level 10. The moment his recovery characteristic rushed to level 10, he suddenly felt that his entire body seemed to have undergone an indescribable change. His body, he could faintly feel a brand new energy. A mysterious energy that was beyond the vitality of heaven and earth, beyond the vital energy and vital essence, and beyond the star power. He could not understand this energy, nor could he understand the reason for it, because his realm had not yet reached the level where he could understand the origin of this energy. However, after he really maxed out the recovery characteristic to level 10, this characteristic did indeed exist. Under the change of this characteristic, he faintly felt that he seemed to have transformed from a flesh and blood life form into an energy life form. He could freely reorganize his own form, even if he wanted to turn himself into stone, water, or vapor. It seemed that he could easily do it. But when he stroked his arm, his spiritual senses and the touch of his fingers told him that he was just a flesh and blood life form. Turn into vapor. That is to say, even if I am blown up by a punch and explode into a blood mist, as long as this blood mist still exists and has not been completely burned, I can still recover. Tsing Hui's expression was enlightened. At the same time, he also realized how terrifying the recovery characteristic was after it was upgraded to level 10. No wonder people said that level 10 personal space, level 10 recovery characteristic, and level 1 incarnation technique were equivalent to being immortal and indestructible. The recovery characteristic of this level could really achieve the realm of rebirth from a drop of blood. As long as he stored a drop of blood in his personal space, who could kill him? Not only the recovery of the body, but the recovery characteristics of vital energy and spirit have also been upgraded to an incredible level. Tsing Hui quickly took out the broken sword from his personal space. A moment later, he placed a portion of Yuan's spirit chi that he had prepared aside just in case. However, he quickly understood that he had been overthinking things. Although the sword intent within the broken sword had formed an extremely strong suppression on his spirit, under the special characteristics of the 10th order recovery, his spirit's toughness and recovery ability had all been strengthened to an unimaginable degree. He had actually managed to resist the damage caused by the sword intent to his spirit. After a while, Tsing Hui put the broken sword aside and recuperated a little. His spirit had already recovered to its peak. Of course, the mental torture and exhaustion were not part of the recovery characteristic. Half an hour later, Tsing Hui opened his eyes again. His gaze immediately landed on the strand of Yuan Shen Qi in front of him. It seems like I bought it for nothing. I don't have any use for it anymore. Tsing Hui murmured, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. However, Yuan Shen Qi had always been an extremely popular treasure in the Heaven Wasteland domain. 100 Dao runes to buy 10 strands of Yuan Shen Qi, so it should not be a problem to sell them for 200 Dao runes. From this point of view, the profit of these 10 strands of Yuan Shen Qi was above that of the unfalling flower. I'll leave 3 strands of Yuan Shen Qi just in case, and sell the remaining 7 strands. Tsing Hui quickly made a decision. He had already tried the recovery of his physical body and spirit. Next was the recovery of vital energy. This training room was obviously not enough for him to use his vital energy to the fullest extent. He immediately stood up, pushed open the door of the training room, and came to the courtyard. The person guarding the door of the courtyard was Yun Tao, who was at the Unity of Spirit Qi stage. Seeing Tsing Hui, Yun Tao was slightly taken aback, and did not seem to react for a moment. After a while, his face revealed a look of surprise, and he hurriedly came up to Tsing Hui, Alliance Master, you've come out of seclusion. Tsing Hui nodded, well, I'm going to test the changes in my cultivation. I know that a lot of things have happened in the Life Moon Alliance this year. You go and gather the many elders of the Life Moon Alliance for a meeting. 3 days later, we will discuss the future development plan of the East Sea. Yes, I'll go right away. Tsing Hui ordered, and did not stay any longer. Riding on his sword, he directly exploded with the fastest speed, and with an ear-piercing whistle, he tore through the clouds and disappeared into the horizon. In the past, if he flew at full speed, he could still feel the consumption of his vital energy. But at this moment, while his vital energy was being consumed, his body also seemed to be communicating with the mysterious energy that he could not describe, absorbing the mysterious energy into his body and transforming it into vital energy. As a result, his vital energy was always maintained at a perfect state. Oh. Flying at full speed is not affected. Then, if I were to fly at full speed and release my vital energy to block the wind? After Tsing Hui finished speaking, his vital energy circulated, and at the same time, his flying speed increased by another level. There was no consumption. There was still no consumption. No matter how much vital energy was consumed, his body would communicate with the mysterious energy to restore it. It was a domineering attitude of, "I'll restore whatever your vital energy limit is." After a while, Tsing Hui did not know which sea region he had flown to, but he stopped. Just flying on his sword was not enough to test the limit of the recovery ability of the 10th rank, then, rumble. Sword light continued to explode from Tsing Hui's hand, and the vital energy in his body was rapidly being consumed as he continuously slashed with his sword. Then, it was quickly replenished by the mysterious energy. After an hour, Tsing Hui stopped and panted slightly. He slightly sensed the vital energy in his body, full. His vital energy was still maintained at a full state. In the prominent divine stage, I can actually replenish as much as I have. Then, what about the divine physique manifestation state? Tsing Hui muttered to himself. Tut! In the next moment, the golden crow spread its wings, and endless radiance mixed with a blazing torrent spread from its body. The sea region below, which was less than 100 meters away, gradually boiled. The power of the golden crow could burn the river and boil the sea. Let me see how long you can last. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, the sea region was once again subjected to a destructive radiance. Violent explosions and terrifying heat waves spread in all directions, causing all the sea beasts living in the sea region to flee at their fastest speed or dive into the depths of the sea. 10 breaths, 20 breaths, 30 breaths, 100 breaths, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Phew! After 1 hour, Tsing Hui let out a long breath, and the golden crow shadow behind him quickly dimmed and returned to his body. 1 hour, compared to the time on earth, was 1 hour. Even the peak of the prominent divine stage could only maintain the divine grade physique for 20 breaths, which was about 1 minute. 1 hour and 1 minute, how could the difference be just a little bit? Tsing Hui stood on the surface of the sea, which had been boiled beyond recognition and was filled with floating fish, and adjusted his breathing. After 2 hours, he opened his eyes again, which were shining brightly. He had recovered. He had completely exhausted his true qi, and it only took him 2 hours to fully recover. Let's try the Grand Sun True Fire, Eternal Resplendent, Sword of the Glorious Sun. After recovering his true qi, Tsing Hui did not rest. Instead, he tried his limits again. The recovery characteristic of a level 10 true qi was much more powerful than that of a level 6 true qi. 3 days later, Tsing Hui returned to the Moon Lake Island. At this moment, there was a faint smile on his face. Originally, he had thought that he would have to cultivate the 10 suns burning the heavens to the 6th or even the 7th day. By relying on the domain of the 10 suns burning the heavens, he would have the qualifications to face a true energy boundary expert head-on, making up for the difference in the amount of true energy between the two sides. It was no longer necessary. In terms of the duration of his divine body, he was not inferior to any true energy realm expert. If he could cultivate the 10 days burning the sky to 6 or 7 days, he would be able to manifest his divine body for a longer period of time than a true energy realm expert. Alliance Master. Congratulations to Alliance Master for successfully completing your divine body. Greetings to Alliance Master. Long live Alliance Master. As Tsing Hui descended from the sky, many cultivators belonging to the Life League approached him at the same time. Tsing Hui nodded. His gaze immediately fell on the core members of the Life League, such as Lord Zhenhai, Ling Yu, Ten Sha of Gojoseon, and the Maha Sect Master. At this moment, these core members of the Life League were in low spirits. Although they were happy that Xing Hui had completed his closed-door cultivation, they could not hide the trace of worry on their faces. "Let's go in first," Xing Hui said to Ling Yu and the others before stepping into the meeting hall. At this moment, there were already more than 100 people in the meeting hall. Among these 100 people, 99% of them were in the Spirit Qi Unity realm. Only a few spirit refining cultivators were qualified to attend this meeting because of their important positions. "Is everyone here?" Xing Hui asked. "Those who could make it here as soon as possible are all here," Ling Yu hurriedly replied. Xing Hui's gaze swept across the people below. Although he did not have much of an impression of the unity of spirit and Qi realm cultivators, he could see that the number of unity of spirit and Qi realm cultivators had decreased by more than 30%. This was especially true for the Green Netherworld realm cultivators. The number of Green Netherworld realm cultivators had decreased to less than 10. The familiar faces from before, Zoluo Holy Mother and the Heavenly Devil Cult Master, were not present. If I recall correctly, there should be more Green Netherworld realm elders in the Life League, right? Xing Hui asked. Well, Ling Yu and the others secretly exchanged glances. In the end, Ling Yu braced herself and said, the Life League had 14 Green Netherworld realm cultivators at its peak. However, due to the setback of Golden Edge Island's attack a year ago and the rise of the Creation Mystical Sect, which swept through half of the East Sea with Flying Snow Island and the other 3 islands as the epicenter, we suffered heavy losses. Even Zoluo Holy Mother died in battle. The rest either fled or surrendered to the enemy. Surrendered? Xing Hui's expression turned cold. Who surrendered? The Heavenly Devil Cult Master surrendered to Golden Edge Island, which is supported by the Unbounded Sword Sect. The remaining 2 Green Netherworld Realm cultivators accepted the Creation Mystical Sect's recruitment and surrendered to them. The Unbounded Sword Sect's Golden Edge Island and the Creation Mystical Sect's Flying Snow Island. Xing Hui took a deep breath. As his cultivation grew, he would have to continue expanding the Life League's territory and conquer more regions to search for items that could carry Dao. He had been considering an excuse to attack openly, but now, Limitless Sword Sect and Create Evolve Mysterious Sect are really audacious. The Eastern Sea is my territory and they dare to interfere in the territory of the Life Moon Alliance. They are not putting the Life Moon Alliance in their eyes. I will let them know the price of offending the Life Moon Alliance. Chapter 333. Ling Yu, Sua Shao, Lord Zhenhai, Tianpeng Spiritual Master, and the others looked at each other and didn't know how to respond to Xing Hui's boastful words. They were the Wuji Sword Sect and the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. Not to mention their hidden forces and the possible support from the Chaos organization behind them, their strength on the surface was enough to easily destroy the Life Moon Alliance hundreds of times. In front of the Limitless Sword Sect and the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect, the Life Moon Alliance was nothing. Even if the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect behind the Life Moon Alliance was included, it was still far inferior to the Limitless Sword Sect and the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect. How dare the Life Alliance be so arrogant in front of the Wuji Sword Sect and the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect? Do they not know how to pronounce the word death? But these thoughts were only surging in their hearts, and they naturally didn't dare to show it on the surface. Do you think I'm exaggerating? Xing Hui's gaze swept across everyone one by one. We naturally believe in your strength, but the Life Alliance and the entire Hunyuan Heaven Sect's development strategy is based on stability. We only need to protect our territory. As for what happens next, it won't be too late to discuss it after a period of time when the situation changes. Lord Zhenhai carefully considered his words and suggested in a low voice. Qing Su glanced at King Zhenhai. The former king of the Sea Realm had personally witnessed the empire he had founded being reduced to ashes under the fury of the 10 sacred sections. He had already become terrified of the strength of the 10 sacred sects, to the point where he no longer had the will to fight. Shaking his head, Xinghui didn't want to blame them too much. The East Sea could only be his territory. The Wuji sword sect must be destroyed, and so must the Create-Evolve Mysterious sect. He had to let everyone in the Eastern Wilderness know who was the real ruler of the East Sea. Anyone who dared to invade the East Sea would pay a heavy price. Okay, you don't need to deal with this matter. I'll deal with it. Xinghui waved his hand and said, "That's great. It's too much of a waste of time for us to deal with the Golden Edge Island and the other stubborn forces one by one. Right now, the entire East Sea has been integrated into the Sun-Moon Alliance, the Golden Edge Island, and the Flying Snow Island. As long as we destroy the Golden Edge Island and the Flying Snow Island, the Sun-Moon Alliance will be able to take over the entire East Sea." When Ling Yu saw that Xinghui seemed to be serious about going to war with the Limitless Sword Sect's Golden Blade Island and the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect's Flying Snow Island, she hurriedly said, "Alliance leader, our Life Moon Alliance isn't ready to go to war with the Limitless Sword Sect and the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect. The Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect is extremely determined to occupy the Eastern Sea. In just a year, they have already built 5 creation gates and have sent 4 Grand Elders. This shows how determined the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect is. If we really fall out with the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect, I'm afraid that even the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect may not stand on our side in the end. I know what I'm doing. I'm not so arrogant as to declare war on the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect and the Limitless Sword Sect with my own strength. I just want them to know who is the true ruler of the Eastern Sea." After Xinghui finished speaking, his gaze fell on Ling Yu, King Zhenhai and the others. "There's no need to say anything else. Go and prepare to accept the remaining forces of Golden Blade Island and Flying Snow Island. Soon, we will be the only force in the Eastern Sea." Ling Yu, King Zhenhai and the others exchanged a glance. They could all see that Xinghui was determined to go his own way. Although they were extremely worried, they knew that their persuasion wouldn't change Xinghui's mind. They could only anxiously think of a way to contact Nailan Fei after the meeting and have Nailan Fei and the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect persuade Xinghui. The Limitless Sword Sect and the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect, they were existences that even the colossal Hunyuan Heavenly Sect couldn't afford to offend. Swoosh! Xinghui's figure flew at full speed in the void, leaving the Azure Sea behind him. He knew that the Limitless Sword Sect and the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect were becoming more and more presumptuous in the Eastern Sea. If the Life Moon Alliance continued to give in, they would be completely expelled from the Eastern Sea sooner or later. Currently, his demand for Daoist rhymes was increasing. Although the amount of Daoist rhymes that could be provided to him was decreasing after his plundering of the Eastern Sea, it was a long-term goal. Why did so many chaos organizations support forces on continents like the Eastern Wilderness? It was so that these forces could collect Daoist items on the continent and provide them to the higher-ups of their sects to raise their chaos level or to purchase supreme treasures from the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. Although he was still far from forming a powerful chaos organization, but he had to start planning and making preparations. Buzz, buzz. A sound came from his personal space in the Chaos Divine Palace. As Xinghui focused his attention, he immediately saw Nailan Fei rushing over. Upon seeing Nailan Fei, Xinghui knew why she had come over. Before she could say anything, he said, "I know what you want to say. Don't worry, since I said that I will completely expel the Limitless Sword Sect and the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect, I naturally have my own plans." Nailan Fei was slightly stunned, but she soon realized that Xinghui wasn't a rash person. She calmed down from the anxiety she felt when she heard the news. After some consideration, she said in a deep voice, "Currently, the Limitless Sword Sect has sent 2 Supreme Elders to oversee the Golden Edge Island, while the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect has sent 4 Supreme Elders to oversee the Flying Snow Island. In addition, they have built 5 Gates of Creation, and dozens of Green Netherworld Realm experts are in charge of the Gates of Creation. They have already made the Flying Snow Island impregnable. You have missed the best opportunity to expel the creative old mysterious sect in your seclusion for an entire year. It is almost impossible for you to expel the creative old mysterious sect and the limitless sword sect. Therefore, I hope that you can consider carefully before you act. I have thought about it very carefully. Naylan Fei glanced at Xing Hui and saw that his eyes were clear and he wasn't affected by his anger. She heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. I just want to tell you that you shouldn't underestimate the power of the limitless sword sect and the create evolved mysterious sect. The Wanxiang City, Alchemy Valley, Heavenly Medicine Union, and other forces aren't weak either. The Wanxiang City's city lord is a high-level son of chaos in the prominent divine stage, and his battle strength isn't weaker than any true energy realm expert. However, he has always been below the 10 great sacred sections. The Alchemy Valley is also said to have refined a few war puppets that are equivalent to prominent divine stage experts. There are close to 10 prominent divine stage experts in total, but even the weakest Pharaoh sect doesn't dare to provoke them. If the Pharaoh sect is like this, then there's no need to mention the creative old mysterious sect that is vainly trying to conquer the eastern wilderness. I understand. The chaos organization behind them. Xing Hui smiled. However, no matter how powerful the chaos organization behind them is, they can't possibly send an almighty to stand up for them, right? Almighty? Naylan Fei was taken aback. She didn't understand what Xing Hui meant. After a long while, she said, that's not necessarily the case. An almighty is a stabilizing force for any chaos organization. Even our Heaven Dome Empire doesn't have many almighties. If Heaven Dome Empire is like this, then there's no need to mention the chaos organization that is inferior to us. Once an almighty is dispatched, it often means an all-out war. At that time, the price to pay will often far exceed the benefits. Therefore, the unspoken rule among the chaos organization is that almighties cannot easily take action. Can you tell me which chaos organization is behind the 10 great sacred sects? Xing Hui asked curiously. I'm not very clear about which chaos organization it is, but the chaos organization behind our Hunyuan Heaven sect is called the Demon Master Palace. It's a mid-lower level chaos organization among the many first-rate chaos organizations. It's said that there are only 3 almighties. The reason why the Hunyuan Heaven sect dared to betray the Demon Master Palace is, on the one hand, too many Daos. On the other hand, the only almighty of the Demon Master Palace who has the incarnation technique was unfortunately targeted by the enemy and died. Xing Hui was taken aback. Only one almighty of the 3 almighties has the incarnation technique? Seeing Xing Hui's astonished look, Naylan Fei couldn't help but laugh. You think it's too little? Xing Hui nodded. With the Hunyuan Heaven sect's influence in the eastern wilderness, they should at least provide 10 or 20 Daos to the Demon Master Palace every year, right? Then, in 10 years, they can at least raise 1 chaos level. In 100 years, it won't be difficult to raise 10 chaos levels. It's true that the Hunyuan Heaven sect's annual quota is 15 Daos, but that's not how it's calculated. Where do you think the Hunyuan Heaven sect gets their high-grade divine weapons and cultivation resources from? Isn't it from those chaos organizations? Even if their profits are extremely high, with 15 Daos, they should still need 5 Daos, right? In this way, they'll only have 10 Daos left. 10 Daos can raise 1 chaos level every 10 years. If we calculate from chaos level 20 to chaos level 25, it'll still take 50 years. In these 50 years, won't he need to spend Daos to cultivate and break through? It's like an ordinary person who earns 100 taels a year. Will he be able to save that 100 taels? Won't he need to spend money on basic necessities? In addition to basic necessities, there's another big problem, and that's the danger he'll encounter. In 50 years, even with the protection of the chaos organizations, how can the Son of Chaos be 100% sure that he won't encounter any danger? If he's seriously injured or dies, it's very likely that all his previous efforts will be wasted. It's like an ordinary person. Once they fall seriously ill, it'll be enough to squander all their savings for decades, and they'll have to start all over again. Xing Hui didn't know how to respond. There are other problems. Take the Demon Master Hall for example. They have 3 almighty beings and 15 Daos. How will the 3 almighty beings distribute the 15 Daos? They can't possibly only have the Hunyuan Heaven sect as their subordinate force, right? The Divine Wilderness isn't big, but it's not small either. However, the further one is from the Divine Wilderness, the greater the cost of the incarnation technique. Therefore, the only truly high-quality islands are the 360 continents with a radius of 3,000 kilometers around the Divine Wilderness. There are only 360 continents, but how many almighty beings are there in the entire Divine Wilderness? How many forces are there below the almighty level? Although the Demon Master Hall has 3 almighty beings, there won't be more than 3 powerful subordinate forces like the Hunyuan Heaven sect under them. Xing Hui frowned when he heard Nalan Fei's words. He had to admit that his idea of unifying the Eastern Wilderness and occupying the Daos produced every year was too simple. Occupying a medium-sized continent. Perhaps it would affect the interests of more than 1 or 2 forces. Chapter 334. I understand. I'll measure it. Xing Hui replied. Alright, be careful. Don't try to be brave. Xing Hui nodded. Seeing this, Nalan Fei didn't insist on this question. After a year of seclusion, did you condense a battle body and step into the prominent divine stage? Of course. Xing Hui smiled. Nalan Fei's eyes lit up. Then your battle body is, Golden Crow Divine Body. That's great. Nalan Fei praised from the bottom of her heart, Qing Su, I never thought you'd actually be able to cultivate a divine tier battle body. Our celestial dome is different from other chaotic organizations. We only recruit true geniuses. Those without divine tier gang chi are not allowed to enter the celestial dome, but even so, only 1 out of 10 cultivators with divine tier gang chi can cultivate a divine tier battle body in the end. With your current talent, you can be considered one of the best in the celestial dome. A divine grade battle body. The path of cultivation is still very long. Clearly, Qing Su's Golden Crow physique had impacted Nalan Fei to a certain extent. She became stern as well. You've already reached the vision domain and you've cultivated a god-tier battle physique, so I can't fall too far behind you no matter what. In the past year, I've already accumulated my cultivation to the peak of the spirit and chi integration realm. Right now, I'm beginning to attempt to comprehend the convergence of heaven and earth and grasp the opportunity to reach the azure darkness realm. Alright, I wish you all the best. I'll count on your blessings. Nalan Fei nodded, and then his figure disappeared. Seeing Nalan Fei leave, Xing Hui continued to fly rapidly on the sea. There could only be one king in the East Sea, and that was the Life League. The Create-Evolved Mysterious sect on the Flying Snow Island and the Limitless Sword sect on the Golden Blade Island had to be expelled. However, Nalan Fei's words made Xing Hui, who originally planned to kill his way into the sea region occupied by the Create-Evolved Mysterious sect, wary. Expelling the Flying Snow Island and the Creation Mysterious sect's forces could be considered as the Life Moon Alliance reclaiming the East Sea. However, if they continued to invade the Creation Mysterious sect's territory, it would probably cause a strong backlash from the entire Creation Mysterious sect. If he wasn't careful, he might have to face the Creation Mysterious sect directly. With his current strength, as long as he didn't provoke the Creation Mystical sect, it wouldn't be a problem for him to face them head-on. However, the problem was, if he really did that, he wouldn't be able to cultivate, deliver goods, or earn Taoist rhymes in peace for a long time. Most likely, he would have to devote most of his energy to the battle with the Creation Mystical sect. If that was the case, it would be better to occupy the East Sea and ensure that the East Sea was safe. Then, he could use the convenience of the Chaos Divine Palace to obtain more Taoist rhymes and increase his cultivation as soon as possible. He believed that if he could cultivate to become an almighty, it wouldn't be difficult for him to occupy the small East Baron, whether he had the support of Heaven Dome or not. Furthermore, with his current combat strength that could suppress true energy stage cultivators without the divine technique and fight against transcendent cultivators with the divine technique, as long as he was willing to rely on Heaven Dome and have Heaven Dome as his backer, he would be able to establish his own sect and establish a force that wouldn't be inferior to the 10 great sacred sects. I'll think about it after expelling the various forces in the East Sea. During this time, I've already isolated the Chaos Divine Palace from sensing the Creation Divine Jade. After 3 days, I should have accumulated 3 Taoist rhymes. After I've completely dealt with the Golden Edge Island and the Creation Mystical Sect, I'll go into seclusion again and use the Creation Divine Jade to comprehend the 10 Burning Heavens Immortal Technique. Once I've cultivated the 10 Burning Heavens Immortal Technique to the 6 Suns realm and above, coupled with the phenomenal success of the technique, I'm confident that I can fight against transcendent cultivators without the divine technique. Tsing Hui retracted his consciousness from the Chaos Divine Palace and flew at full speed once again. With his 10th order recovery ability, he didn't have to worry about the consumption of his true qi. Even if he flew at full speed, his body would connect with an unknown energy and replenish his true qi quickly. Not long after, he appeared on the surface of a vast sea. Hovering above the sea, Tsing Hui activated the seal formed by the contract with the sacred beast Xuanwu. Not long after, the sea surged and a large number of white bubbles spread out. Not long after, the 9th order sacred beast Haoyu, which was as big as a small island, appeared in the sea below. As soon as Haoyu appeared, he immediately felt the change in Tsing Hui's aura. His huge eyes stared at Tsing Hui and carefully sized him up. After a while, he slowly said, "I didn't expect your aura to grow so much. It's only been a little more than a year, but you've already improved to such a level. You really live up to your name as the legendary son of chaos. You flatter me, Your Excellency Haoyu." After Tsing Hui finished speaking, he took out a bottle. Seeing the bottle in Tsing Hui's hand, Haoyu opened his eyes wide. "This is. I can feel it. Innate true water. I can feel the aura of innate true water. That's right. I have a portion of innate true water." Although Haoyu was excited by the appearance of this portion of innate true water, he still suppressed his emotions and asked Tsing Hui, "Give me the innate true water. What do you need me to do?" "Very simple. To the north of this sea region, there are 2 sea regions. One of them is 2,000 kilometers in size and is led by the Golden Edge Island. It includes 12 islands of various sizes. The other sea region is led by the Flying Snow Island. It includes 19 islands of the surrounding 3,000 kilometers. I want you to expel all the humans in these 2 sea regions. It's best if you can make all the 6 prominent saint experts in these 2 sea regions stay. 1 portion of innate true water in exchange for 6 prominent saint human invaders and 2 sea regions. It's a very good deal. I'll take it." "All right." Tsing Hui threw the innate true water to sacred beast Haoyu. With the equal contract, he wasn't afraid that Haoyu would go back on his words. "Then I'll leave these 2 sea regions to you. It's best if you can solve this problem once and for all, in case they send more people over." "I understand. With 1 portion of innate true water, I should be able to kill 10 prominent saint human cultivators for you. Since you're so straightforward, I naturally won't disappoint my allies. There will be a result within 10 days. Haoyu opened his mouth and swallowed the bottle of innate true water. Tsing Hui nodded slightly. "If that's the case, I'll wait for Sir Haoyu's good news. Our agreement is still in effect. When you bring the innate true water again, I'll make a move for you again." After Haoyu finished speaking, his huge body slowly sank into the sea, leaving behind a huge whirlpool on the surface of the sea. I want to see if the Creation Mystical Sect and Limitless Sword Sect still have the guts to send people over to occupy the Eastern Sea after this. Xing Hui revealed a trace of interest. In the next moment, he turned around and whistled in the direction of Moon Lake Island. After flying at full speed for less than half a day, Xing Hui had already returned to Moon Lake Island. Seeing that Xing Hui had returned from the outside world with a calm aura, it was obvious that he hadn't fought with anyone. Ling Yu, Lord Zhenhai, Spiritual Master Tianpeng, Sect Master Maha, and the others heaved a sigh of relief. That's great. Alliance Master didn't act rashly. That's right. Currently, the Creation Mystical Sect and Limitless Sword Sect have sent too many experts to the Eastern Sea. Each force has more than 30 green netherworld experts. If an all-out war really breaks out, our Life Alliance will definitely not be their match. Alliance Master is the Supreme Elder of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and has terrifying battle strength that isn't inferior to a prominent saint expert. But we're doomed. In such a large-scale battle, we don't even know if we can survive. Phew. We should continue to follow Alliance Master's original order and shrink the defensive line as much as possible. When the Limitless Sword Sect and the Creation Mystical Sect both suffer heavy losses, our Life Alliance will see if we have a chance to reap the benefits. Everyone thought to themselves, and at the same time, the worries in their hearts were relieved. After relaxing for a moment, Lord Zhenhai swept a glance at the horizon from the corner of his eye. He was slightly taken aback. The weather over there doesn't seem to be right. Ling Yu, Spiritual Master Tianpeng, Sect Master Maha, and the others raised their heads to look. They saw that the horizon, which was cloudless not long ago, was now covered with a layer of dark clouds. It was dark and gloomy, as if a heavy rain was about to fall. It's probably going to rain over there. But according to the distance between the clouds, the core of the rain clouds is at least a few hundred kilometers away from Moon Lake Island. Moreover, it won't pass by Moon Lake Island, so we don't need to pay attention to it. Spiritual Master Tianpeng calculated and said. The others nodded in agreement. They were different from the cultivators in the Divine Qi integration realm. Without a flying sword, cultivators in the Divine Qi integration realm might be helpless in the face of a large-scale storm. However, if they were in the green darkness realm, even if there was a storm in the way, they could still fly out of the storm's range using the Qi manipulation technique. Since they did not have to worry about starting an all-out war with the Limitless Sword Sect and the Creation Mystical Sect, everyone quickly relaxed. They did not take the storm cloud seriously and quickly dispersed. Tap, 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 the sound of footsteps echoed in Xing Hui's courtyard. After returning to Moon Lake Island, Xing Hui was too lazy to make any arrangements. He went straight to his cultivation room. After plundering the Dao-carrying items overseas and increasing his cultivation base, the Life Alliance was no longer as important to him as it used to be. In fact, when he reached the initial success stage of the Magic Arsenal casting technique, the Life Alliance's combat strength would become dispensable to him. At most, they could only be used to run errands. Xing Hui glanced at his character model. After completely absorbing the Taoist rhymes in the small piece of creation divine jade, his chaotic rank was raised to the 34th level. Moreover, he was left with 69 points of Taoist rhymes. In other words, he did not have to waste the Taoist rhymes in the creation divine jade to the chaotic rank in the next 69 days to ensure that the Chaos Treasure Pavilion would consume the Taoist rhymes. Among the many celestial skills, the one that increases my combat strength the most is naturally the 10 days burning the heavens. Then, I'll start comprehending the celestial skill from the 10 days burning the heavens. Xing Hui muttered to himself as he focused his attention on the creation divine jade that had regained some luster. However, just when Qin Su focused his attention on the fortune jade and stopped purposefully blocking the connection between the fortune jade and the Chaos Divine Hall, a message suddenly rang out from the Chaos Divine Hall. Discovered Dao carrying item. It contains 19 points of Taoist rhymes. Do you want to integrate it? Chapter 335. 19 Tao Rhymes. This number startled Xing Hui, and he vaguely felt that something was wrong. When I transferred the Tao Rhymes from the Fortune mainland to the Fortune Divine Jade in my spiritual world, there was a difference of 10 times. In the end, I only got 13 Tao Rhymes. It has only been 3 days since I returned from the Fortune mainland. According to the Fortune Divine Jade's growth rate of 1 Tao Rhyme per day, it should be 16 Tao Rhymes now. Why is it 19 Tao Rhymes? Xing Hui was slightly stunned. In 3 days, his Tao Rhymes had increased by 6 Tao Rhymes. 2 Tao Rhymes per day. Suddenly, Xing Hui's gaze focused on the repaired corner of the Fortune Divine Jade, and a shocking guess faintly emerged in his heart. Could it be, hiss? Xing Hui took a deep breath, and suppressed the faintly uncontrollable shock in his heart. At this time, he couldn't care less about using the Fortune Divine Jade to comprehend the supreme immortal technique, 10 days burning the heavens. 1 day. If his guess was correct, the truth would be completely revealed in 1 day. There were only 24 hours in a day. For ordinary cultivators, 24 hours passed in the blink of an eye. If they used it to comprehend an immortal technique or divine ability, they could go into seclusion for 10 days to half a month. But this time, Xing Hui had never felt that 1 day would be so torturous. In the end, he had to force himself to cultivate the true energy void technique, and use the characteristics of the true energy void technique to temper his temperament and wait for the passage of time. Finally, 1 day passed. I hope my guess is correct. Xing Hui took a deep breath, and with a feeling of loss and gain, he reactivated the Chaos Divine Palace's connection to the Fortune Divine Jade. Discovered Tao Rhymes object, containing 21 Tao Rhymes. Do you want to integrate? As expected, a notification suddenly sounded in Xing Hui's mind. After confirming his guess, Xing Hui couldn't help but clench his fist. As expected. The Tao aura value produced by the Fortune Jade had increased from 1 point to 2 points. Although the Fortune Divine Jade from the Fortune mainland could only be regarded as a small dot compared to the one in Xing Hui's spiritual world, it was just like the limit theory. A person could run 100 meters in 10 seconds with a little bit of training. However, if he wanted to run 100 meters in 9 seconds, even if it was just a small reduction of 1 second, the price he had to pay would still be more than 10 times or even dozens of times more than before. It was the same for the Fortune Divine Jade. After the body was repaired, even if it was only a little, the Creation Divine Jade underwent a huge change. This change increased the Creation Divine Jade's daily Taoist rhyme from 1 point to 2 points. In other words, if the Chaos Treasure Pavilion did not consume Taoist rhymes, he would only need to wait passively for 50 days to increase his chaotic rank. What a pleasant surprise! Xing Hui's face was filled with joy. A moment later, his gaze also fell on the 2 remaining gaps in the Fortune Divine Jade, one large and one small. Now that a small gap had been filled, the amount of Taoist rhyme he could get every day had increased from 1 point to 2 points. If he could get the remaining 2 pieces of the Fortune Divine Jade and completely repair the Fortune Divine Jade in his spiritual world, what would happen? To what extent would the Taoist rhyme value he could obtain every day increase to? Just thinking about it made him look forward to it. It seems that in the future, in addition to developing a trading function, the Primordial Trade Association will also have a function of collecting information, just like the Divine Secret Pavilion, so that I can gather the other 2 pieces of the Fortune Divine Jade as soon as possible. With his guess confirmed, Xing Hui gradually calmed down and planned the next development direction. However, the most important thing now was to comprehend the various immortal techniques as soon as possible. Even though the Tao aura within the Fortune Jade had an extremely significant supplementary effect on the comprehension of immortal techniques, 1 point of Tao aura could only last for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, which was 30 minutes. Although he had a total of 21 points of Tao aura, it could only allow him to persist in that mysterious state for 10.5 hours. If he wanted to completely master the few supreme immortal techniques he had obtained from the Fortune continent, in a short period of time, the Taoist rhyme produced by the Fortune Divine Jade was still unable to replenish the primal chaos level. If he wanted to increase the primal chaos level, he would still have to rely on the Taoist rhyme from all over the world. Let me see how far my 10 Burning Heavens immortal technique can be deduced in these 10.5 hours. Tsing Hui muttered to himself. In the next moment, he focused all his energy on comprehending the 10 Burning Heavens immortal technique. The mysteries of the 10 Burning Heavens immortal technique emerged one after another through the Fortune Divine Jade's deduction, turning into bright sparks of inspiration that constantly exploded. In less than a minute, the 10 Burning Heavens immortal technique advanced to the One Sun realm. 2 minutes later, the 10 Burning Heavens immortal technique evolved to the Two Sun realm. In just 6 minutes, the 3 suns shone together, illuminating the surroundings. Following that, half an incense's time, for Sun realm, 2 hours, 5 Sun realm, 6 hours, 6 Sun realm. By the time the Green Ruins Jade had completely exhausted the 21 Taoist rhymes it had accumulated during this period of time, his 10 suns burn the heavens had already reached the realm of 7 suns that the founding master of the Great Sun Divine Palace had just reached. Huff! Tsing Hui let out a long breath, and the moment he opened his eyes, it was as if the shadows of 7 blazing suns appeared in his pupils at the same time. In terms of difficulty, the 10 Burning Heavens immortal technique is about the same as Magic Arsenal. At best, it's a notch higher. According to the 3 stages of Magic Arsenal, I can be considered to have cultivated the 10 Burning Heavens immortal technique to the grand completion stage. 10 days of accumulated Taoist rhymes was enough to cultivate a supreme immortal technique to the grand completion stage. If this news were to spread to the Fortune continent, it would definitely cause an unprecedented uproar. The Taoist rhymes are becoming more and more insufficient. The higher my cultivation, the greater the consumption of Taoist rhymes. Tsing Hui focused his attention on the Primal Chaos Divine Palace and quickly contacted Sun Qi, who was far away in the Heavy Truth continent. It was time to reap the rewards of the divine weapons and resources that he had invested in Sun Qi. Tsing Hui thought to himself and was about to change his appearance to contact Sun Qi. However, he stopped after a while. Although his incarnation technique had reached the 4th order, it was still not easy to smoothly bring Yu Yan out of the Primal Chaos Heaven sect and ensure that he could obtain many Tao treasures from her. In fact, he would have to send down at least a spirit refining realm incarnation to barely accomplish this. In this way, he would definitely fall into a weakened state after using the incarnation technique. Moreover, it would take a long time for him to do so. He had already sent Xuanwu Haoyu to sweep the Golden Edge Island and Flying Snow Island to expel the forces of the Limitless Sword sect and the Fortune Evolution Mysterious sect. During this period, no one could guarantee that there wouldn't be any accidents. If the Fortune Evolution Mysterious sect and the Limitless Sword sect flew into a rage out of humiliation, their top experts would abandon the Golden Edge Island and Flying Snow Island and directly attack the Life Alliance he was in. At that time, he would be in a weakened state. At that time, he would still fall into a situation where he was a fish on a chopping board. I should focus on polishing my spiritual force to the 80th order as soon as possible. At the same time, I should refine my true qi and prepare to step into the Saint realm. Tsing Hui muttered to himself and stopped contacting Sun Qi. He began to scheme for the many Tao treasures on Yu Yan. Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Hunyuan Heaven Sect's sect master, Zhuo Kunlun, received news of Tsing Hui less than half a day after he came out of seclusion. In this world, apart from the conventional jade talismans, there was also the Primal Chaos Temple that could allow people to meet and communicate regardless of the distance between them. As long as there was a son of Primal Chaos as a spy, it would be easy to transmit information. After receiving the news, Zhuo Kunlun was looking forward to how Tsing Hui would deal with it, especially after Tsing Hui's declaration in the following meeting. However, after waiting for 2 or 3 days, Tsing Hui still didn't make any movements on Moon Lake Island. Zhuo Kunlun couldn't help but be disappointed to see all of Tsing Hui's trump cards. It seems that our elder Tsing Hui has given in the end. We thought that our Hunyuan Heaven sect would be able to force the Almighty behind him to descend by standing by and doing nothing. If we can drag the Almighty behind him, who is suspected to be Sky Dome, into the quagmire, Sword Shadow and Sky Dome will cooperate. When the two top 10 primal chaos organizations join forces, even the Heavenly Tao will have a very high chance of avoiding them and giving up the benefits of the Eastern Wilderness. Once the Heavenly Tao retreats, the Create-Evolved Mysterious sect will lose its support and become rootless duckweed. Sooner or later, it will be completely devoured by our Hunyuan Heaven sect. Zhuo Kunlun looked at the information sent over with a faint smile on his face. In front of him were Fa Dai, Cangyu, Du Ming, Star Slaughter and the other prominent Saint Stage Grand Elders. Unless Sky Dome has the intention of interfering in the Eastern Wilderness, it's impossible for them to make such a big fuss over the disciple of an almighty like Tsing Hui. I'm afraid that Sect Master's plan will fail. Our actions will at most force out Elder Tsing Hui's trump cards and let us know how much support that Almighty has for him. This will also make it easier for us to determine the weight of Elder Tsing Hui. Star Slaughter said. Elder Fa Dai shook his head. In truth, if we really have to make a choice, I'd rather Sky Dome intervene in the Eastern Wilderness. Although Sky Dome has as many experts as the clouds, and even has an invincible Saint Stage expert like esteemed Zhuzhao, they don't have many people because of their elite strategy. If they really want to intervene in the Eastern Wilderness, the number of people they can station there will be very limited. This is very advantageous to us. Zhuo Kunlun nodded when he heard this. In terms of the number of experts Heaven's Vault possessed, it wasn't inferior to the other chaos organizations. It was precisely because it had too few experts and was relatively weak that it had fallen to the bottom of the 10 great chaos organizations. If Heaven's Vault were to recruit as many experts as Heavenly Tao and the other chaos organizations, it would probably be able to push its ranking to somewhere between 4th and 8th place in a very short time. It's a pity that Tsing Hui has really endured. It seems that we'll have to let the Limitless Sword sect and Create Evolution Mysterious sect gradually grow stronger in our Hunyuan Heaven sect C region. Our Hunyuan Heaven sect has just joined Shadow Sword. Although we've used the Tao aura we've accumulated over the years to trade for many good things from Shadow Sword, it will still take some time to convert those things into our strength. Therefore, we need to focus on defense for now. After a few more years, when our Grand Elders break through, we will officially have the qualifications to challenge the Create Evolution Mysterious sect and the Limitless Sword sect. At that time, the Limitless Sword sect and Create Evolution Mysterious sect will have to spit out all of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's territory. Zhuo Kunlun said. The other elders nodded in agreement. Just when the Grand Elders were worried that Tsing Hui would not be able to watch a good show, a middle-aged man of the Green Netherworld stage hurried in from outside and reported anxiously, Sect Master, Elders, we just received news from overseas that the Overlord of the Foreign Seas, the Grade 9 Xuanwu Sacred Beast, has gone on a rampage and is heading straight for Flying Snow Island with a monstrous tsunami. Chapter 336 Stage 9 Xuanwu Overlord of the Outer Seas. When they heard the middle-aged man's report, the great elders who originally thought that the Alliance Master of the Life Moon Alliance, Qing Su, was going to admit defeat were all stunned. I've heard of that Stage 9 Xuanwu. It's the strongest overlord of the Eastern Sea. Together with the Green Flood Dragon and Kuan Whale of the Southern Sea, they are the strongest Stage 9 overlords of the Eastern Barren Sea. In fact, Xuanwu is ranked first among the 3 Stage 9 overlords. Why would such an extremely powerful overlord suddenly mobilize such a large force today, sweeping up a monstrous tsunami and charging straight for the creation mystical sect's Flying Snow Islands? Elder Fa Dai's face was filled with disbelief. Could it be related to Grand Elder Tsing Hui? According to the information I obtained from the Life Alliance, when this Class 9 Black Tortoise Overlord returned from the Outer Seas a few years ago, the entire Life Alliance was in a state of panic, and the entire Life Alliance almost collapsed as a result. It was the Qing Su Great Elder who personally went to the Black Tortoise Cave abode and formed a strategic alliance with the Class 9 Black Tortoise Overlord, discussing whether to advance or retreat together with the Class 9 Black Tortoise Overlord. Right now, the Creation Profound sect behind the Flying Snow Island and the Wuji Sword sect behind the Golden Edge Island have invaded the East Sea aggressively, and they've sent as many as 6 prominent Saint Realm Great Elders. Since the Qing Su Great Elder couldn't do anything to them, he invited the Class 9 Black Tortoise Overlord to help him completely destroy the Flying Snow Island and Golden Edge Island. Star Slaughter guessed based on the information he knew. I've also heard of this news, but I previously thought that it was a baseless rumor. How could a level 9 Overlord, and one of the 6 Saints, Black Tortoise, sign an equal contract with a human who was only at the Green Darkness realm at that time? The strength of the two wasn't equal, but now that I think about it, it might be possible. Don't forget, our Grand Elder Tsing Hui has an almighty from the Sky Dome realm behind him. Elder Du Ming's words make sense. If the Stage 9 Saint Beast Xuanwu hides in the sea, other than Almighty, no one can do anything to it. Maybe it's because the Almighty behind Tsing Hui came to an agreement with this Stage 9 Overlord, allowing this Stage 9 Overlord to protect Tsing Hui, allowing him to grow smoothly. That's right, that Sky Dome realm's upper echelon didn't have enough time and energy to take care of his disciple, so it's reasonable to have an agreement with this Stage 9 Saint Beast Xuanwu. Xuanwu. The elders summed up the information they had, and it was as if they had understood the truth of the matter. Zhuo Kunlun also felt that everyone's theory was close to the truth. His expression turned grave as he said, "It seems that we've all underestimated Grand Elder Tsing Hui. To think that there's such a terrifying force behind him. A Stage 9 Xuanwu Overlord. No wonder he didn't want to stay in our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's headquarters and insisted on staying on Moon Lake Island at all times. With this Stage 9 Xuanwu Overlord protecting him, which force in the eastern wilderness would dare to offend him? Ha ha ha, our Hunyuan Heaven Sect actually coincidentally discovered such a treasure. The Sea Suppressing Hall, the Sea Suppressing Hall, this is really a hall that suppresses the sea. With Grand Elder Tsing Hui overseeing the sea and the Stage 9 Xuanwu Saint Beast acting as a barrier, our Hunyuan Heaven Sect Sea region will be safe from now on." The remaining elders laughed happily. "I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it." The Creative Evolved Mysterious Sect has invested a lot of energy into the Flying Snow Island. In order to gain a firm foothold, they have built 5 gates of fortune, and all of them are medium-sized gates of fortune. It is said that they have plans to build a large gate of fortune. The Golden Edge Island has also made ample preparations. Not to mention the energy-destroying cannons, they have even moved several crystal cannons that can threaten saints. In addition, they have also built a sword pool and invited several level 8 and level 8 divine swords to nourish them there. At the critical moment, the divine swords will be unleashed by the illustrious saint experts, and they can erupt with the power of a level 8 or level 9 divine weapon for a short period of time. Whether it is the Gate of Fortune or the sword pool, I don't know where they can hide when the Black Tortoise Overlord comes with a tsunami. Elder Fa Dai, I'm also looking forward to what you've said. We have to pay attention to the sea region at all times. I don't want to miss such a magnificent scene. Yes, yes. East Sea region. While the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect was gloating, the 4 Grand Elders of the Creative Evolved Mystical Sect had also received news of the Xuanwu Saint Beast coming with a tsunami. At this moment, Miao Xian, Shoujin, Long Soul, and Wu Sui, who had suffered heavy losses in the Jin Wu religion's hidden flame mountain, had gathered together. They were listening to the Blue Netherworld Stage Elders report with disbelief on their faces. Stage 9 Xuanwu. That overlord of the sea region. How is it possible that it's sweeping a wave in our direction? It's true. The tsunami is less than 6,000 kilometers away from us. This time, the tsunami is extremely fast and its scale is huge, stretching over 1,000 kilometers. I'm afraid it will reach our Flying Snow Island in 4 to 6 hours. Elders, we should retreat as soon as possible. The blue netherworld stage elder looked anxious. That damned beast, our create evolved mystical sect, and it have always minded our own business and lived in harmony. How dare it sweep up a tsunami and attack our create evolved mystical sect? Isn't it afraid of the anger of our create evolved mystical sect's ancestors? You must know that even the Green Dragon King, who was also at the 9th stage, was lured to the shore by our creation mystical sect's ancestors and was almost killed. In the end, he had no choice but to escape to the outer sea to settle down. Venerable Long Soul's eyes were filled with anger and coldness. They had already gained a foothold here and were waiting to expel Golden Edge Island and the Life Moon Alliance so that they could expand the create evolved mystical sect's territory and conquer the East Sea. However, the overlord of the sea region, Xuanwu, had interfered at such a crucial moment and swept a tsunami towards them, provocation. This was the most severe provocation to the entire create evolved mystical sect. The stage 9 Xuanwu is not the same as the Blue Dragon King. Although the Blue Dragon King can barely be considered a sacred beast, its bloodline is impure. However, Xuanwu is different. This Xuanwu was already one of the strongest overlords of the Outer Sea region when he was only at stage 8. Now, his aura is even stronger and he has broken through to stage 9. In addition, he is the lord of the water domain of the 6 divine saints and his battle strength has reached the level of an overlord of the Outer Sea region. It's not an exaggeration to call him the #1 overlord of the Outer Sea region. If he dives deep into the Outer Sea region, even an almighty might not be able to do anything to him. Wu Sui shook his head. After being defeated by the Jin Wu religion on Mount Zhongyan, he came to the Outer Sea region to atone for his mistake and to find a chance to kill Xing Hui to avenge the death of Xuanyangzi. He did not expect that things would go so smoothly in the beginning, but before the situation stabilized, he encountered this incident. Everyone, do you remember the news we heard from the Life Moon Alliance? The Life Moon Alliance and this stage 9 Xuanwu are allies. Do you think this stage 9 Xuanwu overlord was invited by Xing Hui to destroy our flying snow island? Otherwise, how can we explain why the sacred beast Xuanwu came out of seclusion and attacked us so aggressively the moment Xing Hui came out of seclusion? This, Miao Xian instinctively wanted to say that this was impossible, but apart from this explanation, they could not think of any other reason for the stage 9 Xuanwu to attack them. If it's true that the Life Moon Alliance and this stage 9 overlord have formed an alliance, then no matter how much effort we create evolved mysterious sect put into the East Sea, we won't be able to lay a finger on it. After a long while, Immortal Dragon Soul said in a deep voice. In the face of a 9th order sacred beast, the Black Tortoise, not to mention that the create evolved mysterious sect had only built 5 medium-sized Gate of Fortune here, even if they had built 5 large-scale Gate of Fortune here, it would still be meaningless. One of the 6 divine sages was an invincible existence that could go against divine beasts in their field of expertise. Elder, what should we do? Seeing that all the elders were silent and frowning, the Green Netherworld Realm expert could not help but ask anxiously. Now that things have come to this, we can only prepare for both eventualities. You guys prepare to retreat. Dragon Soul, the 2 of us will go and meet the sacred beast Xuanwu. Since the Life Moon Alliance has reached an agreement with the Xuanwu sacred beast through benefits, why don't we try and see if we can pay a price to get it to join our side? Miao Xian, the leader of the Flying Snow Island, said. If we retreat, what will happen to the create evolved mysterious sect? It will take a day to destroy the create evolved mysterious sect, but the Xuanwu sacred beast will be here in a few hours. We destroy as much as we can. Miao Xian said and nodded to Immortal Dragon Soul. The 2 of them quickly went out and flew towards the Xuanwu sacred beast on their swords. As the 2 of them flew towards the Xuanwu sacred beast, they could gradually see the vast waves that swept across the heavens and the earth, as well as the terrifying dark clouds that covered thousands of kilometers above the waves. Within the dark clouds, gales whistled, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. Not to mention prominent divine stage experts like them, even true energy realm experts would be blown away by the gales if they were to fall into it. Then, their protective true energy would be destroyed by the falling lightning, and they would end up dead. Does this beast really want to exterminate the forces of our create-evolved mysterious sect in the East Sea? Miao Xian looked at the huge tsunami that stretched for thousands of kilometers and couldn't help sucking in a breath of air. In front of this terrifying tsunami that could destroy the world, even a prominent divine expert like him felt insignificant from the bottom of his heart. Alright, let's go and talk to the sacred beast Xuanwu. Immortal Dragon Soul said. Miao Xian nodded and flew to the front of the tsunami. Using his true energy, he spread his voice to a radius of hundreds of kilometers. Respected Sea Domain Overlord Xuanwu Sacred Beast, may I know how our create-evolved mysterious sect has offended you to the point that you are so angry that you did not hesitate to summon a large force to attack us. If we have been rude in any way, our create-evolved mysterious sect is willing to compensate to appease your anger, 6th stage cultivator of the create-evolved mysterious sect. That's right. I hope that the Xuanwu Sacred Beast can give us a chance to atone for our sins on account of the ancestors of our create-evolved mysterious sect. Before Miao Xian could finish his words, the dark clouds and torrential rain that filled the sky suddenly came whistling down. The sacred beast Xuanwu's dull and emotionless voice could be vaguely heard. You will be the ones to deal with. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.